A very good morning to you. Welcome to Friday on the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. On behalf of the crew, we welcome you aboard the finest on morning television. Now, this morning, in terms of the news review, Mapitso Sebidi will be joining me as we dig into the papers, we dissect them impartially. But beyond that, of course, I'll be bringing you my blunt thoughts for today. The title, The Akufo-Addo Experiment and Our Economic Journey So Far. Crucial takeaways. But hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before that, we'll bring you sports, and guess whom we're going to be interacting with? My colleague Muftau Nabila and Abdullahi will be interacting with former Black Stars player Anthony Bafo on Prime Take. That's the interesting bit we have for you in sports. But then we get into our big stories. And yes, we're talking today about Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta, who is expected in Parliament to answer questions by that ad hoc committee tasked to probe a motion of censure filed by the minority in Parliament. We'll be looking ahead into that sitting today on the show. Again, on the show today, we'll be hosting Enterprise Live to tell us about their amazing packages for you. Yes, you got me right. We've also got another conversation on Oxford Royale Summer School and how you can be a part of this awesome experience and opportunity. Now, guess what? On Sunday, the World Cup in Qatar commences. Yesterday, we locked horns with the Swiss and dumped them by 2-0. Are those positive signs? Well, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi and his pundits will explore the possibilities of the Black Stars performing better than their last outing in Brazil in 2014. Also, interesting, Bernice Abubeidu-Lanta, my colleague, and her girls will also share their thoughts on what women look out for during such times. The teams women will support and all of that. Well, later on the show, we offer you the chance to join us with your thoughts on the issues we've been discussing on the show via social media with the hashtag AMShow. And when we actually activate the phone lines, you can call as well. We'd like to know, for example, what did you make of the Black Stars' performance yesterday as they beat the Swiss by 2-0? Is that good reason enough for us to start hoping? I think so. Well, all of that coming up this morning on the show. Right now, though, let's get into the news up next. Thank you for staying. Let's settle now for the news. And in our first story, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee has corroborated allegations by the minority in their censure motion that government illegally paid $100 million in oil revenue into an offshore account. The money is part of proceeds of crude oil exports in the first half of this year and was lodged in the account of Jubilee Oil Holding Limited, which is registered outside of Ghana. Vice President of PIAC, Nasir Alpha Mohammed, has been speaking at the censure motion hearings.
Or indirect participation of the Republic shall first and foremost be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Mr. Chairman, it is the considered view of the committee that it matters not that other issues may be introduced into the whole conversation. What matters for us, our understanding of the law, is that the PRMA is the primary law that governs the utilization management of petroleum revenues. And it says that any revenue accruing to the state, whether directly or indirectly, should first be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Mr. Chairman, we also know that GNPC is the primary commercial arm of the Republic of Ghana in petroleum activities. And so when this happens, we are dealing with GNPC per se. If you look at the whole JOHL transaction, it is GNPC that undertook those transactions. So our position as a committee, Mr. Chairman, is that lifting, whether it is lifted by 100% subsidiary of GNPC or not, ought to come first into the Petroleum Holding Fund, from where disbursements can be made for whatever reason. So, Mr. Chairman, our position on that matter is clear. Of course, for purposes of disclosure, the the GNPC referred us to an advice from the Attorney General's Department purporting to okay such a transaction in the nature and manner that they dealt with this issue. Mr. Chairman, we are happy to say that we did not come to this conclusion without recourse to that particular advice.
But the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation says there was no illegality committed in the lodging of the funds in an account other than the Petroleum Holding Fund. Listen to Deputy Chief Executive in charge of Commerce and Business Strategy at the GNPC, Joseph Dazi, who was responding to questions from the co-chair of the committee, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
The monies were obviously paid directly to Jubilee Holdings, right?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Yeah. Are those monies that ought first to have been paid into a petroleum holding fund?
Yes, so that's a point of departure, the area of disagreement. We believe that JoHL.
Wait a minute. Who are you disagreeing with? You are departing from where? Point of departure. He asked you a question, so deal with it. Point of departure. You are departing from.
So what PIAC? So I'm alluding to what PIAC said. So we disagree with PIAC's assertion that it should have been paid to. So why? Can you explain to the committee why you disagree?
Yeah. So Honorable Chair, as it was discussed during the PIAC testimony or submission, JoHL is 100% subsidiary of GNPC. We believe it's a company incorporated. It's a company registered under the Company Act, and obviously the terms and conditions, the constitution of JoHL is governed by the Company Act, and for that reason, 100% of the revenue cannot be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. The company must operate, and if at the end of the day it declares profit and the directors decide that dividend must be paid, that money is paid to GNPC, and that money paid, of course, will be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. So we believe that JoHL is governed by the Company Act, not by the Petroleum Revenue Management Act.
Well, now, the minority in Parliament says government must suspend the implementation of the Customs Amendment Act 2020, specifically Section 61. The law requires used vehicles imported into Ghana to be accompanied by a valid certificate of conformance from an approved body. Importers of used vehicles have criticized the directive as one that will collapse their businesses. Speaking to JoyNews, ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee, Kwame Agboja, said implementing the law would price out the poor from owning vehicles in the country.
Passed a law trying to regulate specifically to make vehicles that come to the country safer for both the users and other people in the country. That is accepted. But I want to call upon the Ghana Standards Authority to hasten slowly, probably suspend the implementation on this basis. They must learn from the hasty implementation of the luxury vehicle tax. They must learn from the hasty suspension of the collection of road tolls. They must learn from other laws that were passed in this House and without adequate preparation, consultation, and public education implemented and drove us all into problem. As we speak, that 891 that we are talking about talked about the fact that we are going to set up a new system where brand new vehicles are assembled in this country to make them more available. The first question is, how many companies are assembling vehicles in this country, and what are the choices of vehicles available to the Ghanaian? Are those vehicles at prices that the ordinary Ghanaian, a journalist, a teacher, a nurse can afford? Even thinking of when we pass the law and the state of the economy today, even if you are selling those vehicles for $5,000, do you know what $5,000 means to the average Ghanaian that will buy them? Then we go to the point of used vehicles needing to have conformance certificate. Nobody is encouraging vehicles that have been totally condemned. I mean, accident vehicles that are no longer fit for purpose to be brought to this country.
Well, now the Food and Beverages Importers Association is actually questioning the timing of the Bank of Ghana's decision to withdraw support for goods classified as non-essential, warning that the directive could be dire for the local market because the country is ill-prepared to deal with the shocks. The Bank of Ghana says importers of non-essential goods such as poultry, vegetable oil and toothpicks will not be provided forex to import these products. Speaking on The Pulse, executive member of the Food and Beverages Importers Association, John Awuni, said though the policy was a good one, it was not based on informed data from the market and would negatively affect businesses.
Face value, it is a very good policy in the sense that we are in very difficult and critical times. Indeed, even we are not even difficult and critical times. To promote local production or to promote the consumption of locally produced goods is a very good thing. No country and no family can continue to rely on outside supply. So for me, in terms of economics, that is right. But I would say that the timing is wrong. I would say that the decision is not being formulated based on great information.
What's your fear generally? That we're not sufficient? Is that the argument you're making?
The argument is that clearly we have not prepared for this as a country. And that is a fact. You have Joy FM in the last week. You ran stories, and I clearly listened to it, where the president of the Ghana Rights to the Professional Body. I was the president of that body for 4 years. I listened to him and I was very interested in the story. And the man lamented the same story that I talked about and lamented about when I was the president in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. That the industry lacks support, it lacks government support. I again also listened to the president of or the chairman of the Ghana Poultry Producers Association, and he said on your station that if the government doesn't take care, the 2% that we are producing locally will eventually collapse, and it will be that we will import it 100%. If these people just spoke last week, and also my checks on the ground, I have one of the executives and a big poultry producer just by me. They returned from Morocco. And indeed, he gave me a story that was quite embarrassing. He said, in fact, the Moroccan government, at the point in their meeting, asked the president that, what is the total consumption of poultry in Ghana? And the president couldn't answer, not due to no fault of his. An individual doesn't do census. So as we speak now, my brother, we don't know how many goats we have in this country. We don't know how many cows we produce in this country. We don't know how many fowls or whatever we produce in this country. As we speak now, we have no data on these things. Day-old chickens we don't have. We are currently importing day-old chickens from Belgium, day-old chickens from Morocco. And indeed, the farmers are not even getting enough. If you speak to poultry producers, they will tell you that yes, the policy is a good policy, but we are not prepared.
A Takoradi District Court has fined Josephine Simmons Mensah, the lady at the center of the fake pregnancy in Takoradi, for the publication of false news with the intent of causing fear and panic. She's been ordered by the court presided over by His Honor Michael Ampedu to pay a fine of 600 penalty units, which is the equivalent of 7,200 cedis on the counts of her offense. She has 14 days to pay the fine. Correspondent Natalia Kwanza was in court and delivered this report.
Yes, Okay.
A Takoradi Circuit Court presided over by His Honor Michael Kujo Ampedu has fined Josephine Payne Simons Mensah, the woman at the center of the fake kidnapping and pregnancy case in Takoradi, to 600 penalty units, which is 7,200 Ghana cedis, on the grounds of publication of false news to cause fear and panic on count 2 of her charges. Before her judgment was read today, she was charged with 2 counts of deceiving a public officer contrary to Section 251B of the Criminal Offence Act and publication of false news with intent to cause fear and panic contrary to Section 208 subsection 1 of the Criminal Offence Act. His Anna Michael Kujo Ampedu, reading her judgment in court, explained that she should have been given a 3-year jail sentence to deter others from her act, but for her current state of pregnancy, which has been proven by doctors at the Takoradi Hospital, she can't be jailed. He explained that the law says you cannot sentence a pregnant person to prison. On the first charge against her, which is deceiving of public officer, the courts acquitted her on the grounds that the law demands that the complainant of the case should be a police officer and the deceit extended to the officer whilst executing an official duty. But in this case, the complainant was Michael Simons, husband of the accused. For JoyNews, in Athalia Kwanza, Western Region.
Clip. And on that note, we cap off the news this morning. But coming up next, we delve into the papers for the news review. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, welcome aboard the news review segment, and we're digging in now. Let me say a very good morning to my very sporty this morning, Mapitso Sebidi. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Are you affiliating with Ghana now?
It's not that I'm affiliating. I identify as a Ghanaian.
Oh, you identify?
Yeah, as a Ghanaian.
So when South Africa and Ghana were playing, how did you identify?
Identified with the winning team. Yeah. So I now identify as a Ghanaian. My name is Mapitso Abana Sebidi.
Okay.
Yadanawase.
So the next time Bafana and the Black Stars lock horns, where's your loyalty going to be?
Like I said, the winning team.
With the winning team?
Yes.
So if the Bafana win, you're with them. If the Black Stars win, you're with us.
Yeah.
Okay. But what do you make of yesterday? Did you get to see any snippets of yesterday's performance?
I did. I mean, and I think it was a good game. Well, fairly good game. But we shouldn't get too excited.
Get carried away.
Yeah, get carried away because, I mean, the team that they were playing, like, you know, and you look at our, what the teams that were going to play in the World Cup, pretty tough teams. So let's see how it goes, Benjamin. But, you know, we have hope and we trust that the Black Stars will bring the cup home. Right, boys?
Okay, so you may not be aware of this, but the team that we played, Switzerland, when you check the FIFA log, they are ranked, is it 16th? But guess what? They have beaten Spain, they've beaten Portugal, they've beaten the Czech Republic. Now, Spain and Portugal, I think Portugal is ranked 9th or so. And Spain also high in there, I think 7th, if you check the FIFA rankings. So obviously, I think Ghana is ranked 63rd. Also, from what I hear, we are the lowest ranked team actually at the World Cup in Qatar. So it's no mean feat. Some would say that when it comes to the squad that played for Switzerland yesterday, maybe they were being a bit cautious to avoid injury and all of that. But same could be said for our squad. And we're also missing the likes of our captain, our deputy captain, Thomas Partey, and Mohamed Kudus, 2 pillars of our team. So I don't think it was a bad performance yesterday. It was more cohesive in terms of what they did on the pitch. And we can only pray that they can replicate this when they go to the World Cup. If they've been able to beat Switzerland, hopefully, if Switzerland was able to beat Portugal, then we should be able to get a decent result with the Portuguese team. And On that note, I think we should delve into the
But
papers.
do you have a Black Stars jersey?
A what?
A Black Stars jersey.
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I have the yellow one with.
Are you supporting? Are you behind the boys?
I am firmly behind the boys.
Okay, but
I just didn't. I didn't feel like rocking a jersey today.
No, it's but your face, tells me that you are behind the boys, but you're not really behind the boys.
I am firmly behind the boys. Let me tell you something interesting. I just saw a joke today where someone says, but Iñaki Williams, the Spain-born, I think, player who is now playing for the Black Stars, he doesn't even know how to sing the national anthem. This is not my comment. This is what someone put on social media. And someone said that, oh, no, he doesn't, but he plays well. Or would you like us to go and get Philippe Beho too? He composed the national anthem.
The game.
But anyway, on a lighter note, yes, I'm fully behind the Black Stars.
That's good.
At any time, especially in these economic times, right? One thing that can unite the people, that can put some joy on faces, tends to be football. Definitely. And my prayer is that we would do very well in Qatar, so that at least there would be that, we can take some respite from all the battering we're getting. But on that note, hey, there'll be more in sports. Mukhtar will be taking us, and you girls will be out and about, right? Doing your thing.
Doing our thing. Benisa Ubedulansa will join us later in the show, and she'll be having interaction with other ladies, and we'll be talking about the game. We'll also, be trying to hype you guys up for the, how many days are we? 2 days away. Yeah, Sunday. It's a guess this thing this morning. Yeah, girls will be getting thing. Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right, so I have the Daily Guide this morning, New Crusading Guide, The Finder, and The Meridian. What do you have?
I have the Daily Guide, and you have the Daily Graphic.
Oh, yeah. On a daily basis.
Yeah, Daily Guide, Ghanaian Times, and Wisconsin, and Republic Press.
Okay, let's start from your end.
So let's start with the Daily Guide. Oforiatta to resign, that's the question they are posing. Cabinet reshuffle looms, that's the story on page 3. We also have Takrade, fake pregnancy woman is now actually pregnant. That is the stories on page 6. We also have voice on leaked tape is mine, Ofosu Ampofo, and Kent's conflict of interest charge shot down. Let's go to page 3 and check out that story. Oforiatta to resign is the question they are asking, and information available to Daily Guide indicates that President Akufo-Addo is meeting his ministers this Sunday, where the possible exit of Mr. Oforiatta may be communicated to them following what the majority MPs asked for. And then a strong wind of change could blow following a reshuffle of the cabinet, which had been on the lips of Ghanaians for a long time. The president may use the exit of Mr. Oforiatta to carry out the much anticipated reshuffle to strengthen his hands as he looks forward to end his term in the next 2 years. Also interesting story here on page 3, which continues to page 6. The gay bill, okay, but faces challenges. That's according to the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfred Yabwadame, has indicated that the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021, popularly referred to as the anti-LGBTQ plus I bill, is not entirely unconstitutional. Good morning.
It's quite a mouthful, right?
Good morning. Yes, Benjamin, what you said, but faces challenges of implementation if the bill is passed by Parliament. The bill, which is currently under review by the Parliamentary Select Committee. Let's see, continues to page 6. The bill seeks to provide for human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values while seeking to prohibit the activities of gays, lesbians, bisexuals, transgender and queers in Ghana. A person found guilty could face up to 10 years imprisonment if the bill is passed. All right, so it's a very interesting story. I wish we could get more into it, but I mean, as you know, that South Africa was the first African country to legalize homosexuality. And I mean, I don't want to be stoned or anything, so I'll leave it to you.
No, your opinions are your opinions. You can be free to share them. I think, consecutively, our leaders have shared with the rest of the world there's a human face to what is going on, but there's also a social cultural face to it, and they must be balanced to reflect the times. I think eventually, as we move ahead, decisions will be made. The stance of the people will be very clear. I have my own position on this. Whenever I talk about this, I talk about the fact that I am very Catholic, a staunch one.
Yeah.
And from the religious perspective, my view is very clear. The Bible is very clear on some of these matters. But my concern has to do with discrimination and how some of these people are treated sometimes. They still are human, and whatever they're going through, it is help that can change the situation. I've actually interacted in recent times. I have I would call the person a friend who recently got in touch. The person actually watches this show. The person is American, got in touch and all of that, and openly said he was this and expected me to be judgmental. And I wasn't, and he found that surprising. The point is not that, and I made it clear, we had interactions, and I said that, look, I'm very Catholic. This is what this means to me. But the person also told me these have been my circumstances and all of that. And I said, look, I don't judge you. I am not here for that. I have my own issues to deal with. I'm dealing with those. You remain someone that I know, someone that I can relate with on any level. It doesn't change anything. Of course, if I had my way, things would be different.
Definitely.
Horses, you can take the horse to the riverside. But
so, like what I always say is that a lot of people, who are advocating for this bill would be extremely surprised about the friends, brothers, sisters around them, and the people around them that are actually lesbian, bisexual, or gay. So I think it's going to be unfortunate when this bill is passed, when, for example, Benjamin, who is a staunch Catholic, and your best friend comes to tell you that, Charlie, this is what's up. And I think it's going to be an unfortunate bill. But let's see how it goes. And
the only point I am making is that let's not, even as we chastise what could be the wrong elements of this in our society, and I agree, I would probably have a society that is wholly heterosexual, if we had our way. But we also know that historically it's not always been that way. All I'm saying is, let's not pick up stones and stone the people, like in the Bible, where they wanted to stone this woman, and Jesus had to intervene and said, he who hasn't sinned before, cast the first stone. I am not legitimizing this. I have stated my Catholic Christian principles, but I also feel that in some instances, the way they are victimized, that is where my problem is. And maybe, let's see how the bill addresses it. Either way, I am for some regulation, but for protection at the same time.
So when you say some regulation,
I think people have cited our laws and made mention of what is in there when it comes to unnatural carnal knowledge and so many other things. I mean, sodomy itself has its own legal dimensions. But I feel that the other side of it, look, it's early in the morning, but bisexuals and all of that, and people who may be practicing same unnatural carnal knowledge, or even, intercourse between a man and a woman is meant to be with certain organs. How about those who are married even, who are doing certain things that contravene that exact stipulation in the Constitution? Those are gray areas. Until the person comes out to say, I'm doing this, you wouldn't know. And of course, the person wouldn't have committed any crime. So there are so many complications that I wish would be addressed legally. And look, as a people, we must determine this is where we want to go, and put it into our legal framework. And I mean, that is that. Move forward.
All right, let's do more stories now and go to Takoradi. I'm sure you can remember about a year ago, there was a Takoradi fake pregnancy scare there. But now that woman is pregnant. But for her current pregnancy, Josephine Mensah, the Takoradi woman, alleged to have feigned pregnancy and claimed her baby was taken away by her kidnappers, would have been jailed 3 years by the Takoradi Circuit Court A. This was after the court convicted the accused on her second charge of publication of false news with the intent to cause fear and panic contrary to Section 208 of the Criminal Offences Act, even though she pleaded not guilty. So if you don't know that story, it would have recalled that before the court gave its final ruling yesterday, it ordered Josephine to go for a pregnancy test, which proved positive. So that lady is now...
Did she get pregnant because...
She didn't want to... All right, so while she's been fined...
in the cooler, huh?
She's been fined 7,200 Ghana cedis.
That's the equivalent of the penalty units.
Yes, the penalty, 600 penalty units. Yeah. So,
well,
interesting turn of events.
A bit of a smart legal move, but this also serves the purpose of cautioning people that you can't do some of these things and get away with them. You put out such information, you get everybody panicking, and there would be consequences for that.
Shatawale, good morning.
Ah, well.
Yeah. Shatawale, good morning.
Shatawale,
yeah.
Shatawale.
All right, so that's all I have from
but I know
Daily
Bulgod took him on in court for his latest, outburst, right?
Yes.
So that matter is pending in court.
So let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper. Wage Agbawe in midst of plenty yet poor. Pictured there, the Wager Dam. There's also countdown 2 days more to Qatar 2022. And today we're going to get extensively into that. Then payment of $100.7 million petroleum revenue. PIAC GNPC stick to positions. I'll be telling you a bit more about that. Save local industries, employers, labor to government. There's also exchanging money without a license. 8 granted 800,000 Ghana cedi bail. And then Salisu and Semenyo Power Ghana past Switzerland. Let's start with that first story. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation have expressed divergent views on the account into which petroleum revenue of $100.7 million should be paid. While PIAC insists it should be paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund, the GNPC says it should be paid into the Jubilee Oil Holding Limited Fund, or to JOL, a subsidiary of the corporation. Now, in terms of the lifting of oil, the amount was realized from the lifting of 944,164 barrels of oil from the Jubilee Fields and Anadako CWTP company in the first half of 2022. Testifying as a witness before the ad hoc committee of Parliament hearing the censure motion on the Minister of Finance yesterday, the Vice Chairman of PIAC, Nasir Alpha Mohammed, said the money was rather paid into an offshore account. He therefore disagreed. We have established, that's what he says, that they have not paid that quantum of money which ought to have formed part of the petroleum revenues of Ghana into the Petroleum Holding Fund, and in our view, that is contrary to the law. But we also heard from the Deputy Chief Executive of the GNPC in charge of Commerce, Strategy and Business Development, Joseph Dazi. He disagreed with PIAC that the money should have been paid directly into the Petroleum Holding Fund. But we'll be seeing more of this later as that committee keeps on sitting. Let's get into that story on page 17 very quickly. And this is what it has to say. It has to do with Wage Agbawe in the midst of plenty yet poor. And the constituency is home to the Wager Dam that supplies about 80% of potable water to the Greater Accra region. The constituency also boasts of having the first salt company in West Africa known as Pambros Salt Industries Limited. If you've been in that area, you know. It is also home to the Wager Leprosarium and the Gan South Municipal Hospital, popularly known as Akawe. With a population of 223,000 per the 2021 population census, the Wage Agbawe constituency has seen rapid urbanization, but that has not been matched by infrastructure growth, especially in terms of roads and drainage. And pictured there recently when the area was flooded after the Wager Dam was spilled, and opinion leaders in separate interviews with the Daily Graphic corroborated the assertion by the residents that the bad road network and the poor drainage systems were the major problems in that constituency. And that means a lot of work for government to do in that area, also for the members of parliament in that area. I'll wrap with these stories, pages 16 and 26. Save local industries, employers and labor to government. And the Ghana Employers Association and the Ghana Federation of Labor have called on the government to provide adequate support and protection for local industries to prevent them from collapse and subsequent job losses for the citizenry. They also stress the importance to subsidize the rising cost of petroleum products and utility services, which had culminated in hardship for both local industries and Ghanaians. And finally, I'll do the one on page 26. 8 persons have been put before an Accra Circuit Court for exchanging money without a license. The 8 are named. They are Muhammad Ali, Barkisu, Yakubu, Shaibu, Suleiman, Isa, Bari, Ali, Bashiru, Saadu Hamidu, Muhammadu Shamsuddin, and Karim Yaya. They were charged with operating a forex business without a license when they appeared before the court, presided over by Adelaide Keddy. And that is it. They have been admitted to bail in the sum of 100,000 cedis each with 2 sureties. And that's it for the Daily Graphic. Of course, on the back page, the talk about our team downing the Swiss. Other stories?
Other stories I'm going to do, before I go into the Ghanaian Times, I just want to do one story from Wisconsin. A very interesting story.
Right.
Female eggs for sale. A business
Female eggs for sale.
for varsity students. Let's get into that story. Now, there's a booming business in the sale of female eggs, with students of tertiary institutions cashing out heavily from that enterprise. Students in some prominent universities in Accra and Kumasi, as well as young women in Ashaiman, Prampram, Tema, and Medina, are cited as heavy diggers of what appears to be a fertile ground to make money from their fertility. A nurse, Akosia Precious, who worked at a family planning center that connected young women to fertility clinics, says that an increasing number of tertiary students are selling their eggs for as low as 2,500 Ghana cedis. Mostly, they're doing this for monetary gains. So she says that she referred about 60 young women aged between 19 and 35 to a fertility clinic for their eggs to be retrieved. Now, the excuse was that it was the only way to fend for themselves, and those from the communities were not as many as the university students.
So university students are doing this as a means of getting by.
Yes.
I mean, someone would say, look, maybe this is greed, but others would also, looking at our economic situation
how
right
would it be
now.
greed?
Oh, I mean, it's like some people may already come from good homes, yet they want to live a certain kind of life.
Okay.
And so that would be excessive. But then there are those, you don't know the economic situation of these people, which is the other angle. Maybe these people are merely doing this to get by. Whichever way, whether on a religious level or a social-cultural level, this is not in good taste.
This is
not
not
at all.
in good taste. I mean, so someone has to sell their eggs so that they can, probably pay for their hostel fees or probably get books, get resources. I think it's like very, very terrible. So, I mean, you look at the economy and so this is what people are doing.
I mean, this is crazy.
This is what people are doing, which is it's very unfortunate. But according to the World Health Organization, infertility is a global health issue affecting millions of people of reproductive age worldwide, and about 48 million couples and 186 million individuals globally have infertility problems. Egg donation is a popular practice in the Western world to help deal with infertility concerns, but in Ghana it is growing. It is a growing phenomenon and only popular among young women. And the only reason why it is so popular is because people are trying to make ends meet.
Well, I cannot say I am not shaken by this. Like the Americans will say, I am shook.
I'm sure.
It's. I mean, when I've been watching the tide, and again, I make mention of this. Some of the things I hear nowadays, throughout my time in Ghana, living here, I have not heard of some of these things. When they come up, yes, in some other jurisdictions, they may be a bit commonplace.
Yeah.
But when you start seeing these things rearing their ugly heads, then you know things are
really
going
tough.
down a certain road. Really.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, and I'll be sharing this about the fact that diesel prices have dropped, marginally. I will say marginally because it's about 3 cedis for diesel. It's about 2 cedis thereabouts for petrol. And yesterday I was at the fuel pump. It meant something to me. It took something off what I would have paid.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's still very high. Very high. And LPG prices are going up. There are drivers who use gas to power their cars. There are people, most of us, you want us to move away from charcoal.
So how do we move away from charcoal? How do we move away from it? Increasing? Talking about fuel, I filled my tank yesterday. In fact, before that, so my car had a fault, right? So I called my mechanic to come check it out. He came and he was like, okay, I just need, it's going to cost like $350, to buy like the sparks.
I actually saw you.
Yeah.
I saw you at the car park and asked you whether everything, she was all over the place getting all, and I asked her whether everything was right. And she was like, oh, my car is, and I saw your mechanic.
Yes. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I had to give him 600 CDs.
You had to give him how much?
600 CDs.
You had to cough up 600 CDs yesterday.
And this is 600 CDs. I wasn't even planning on coughing up. I was thinking, okay, maybe like 300, 400 at least. So yeah, I spent 600 CDs, to fix the fault.
So he had to go to Abosoka and get some parts, right?
Abosoka, I got some parts, and then gave him some, so the 600 CDs includes labor. Cool. And then after that, at the end of the day, I had to, how much did I have? 500 CDs for fuel.
Oh, but your own is good.
No, my tank is not filled because I was like, okay, you know what? I didn't plan to spend the 600 CDs.
Oh.
So now I'd have to just, So
it's more like a little over half, right?
Yeah, a little over half. And that little over half won't last me until like next week, Friday. Because I spent 800.
I spent 800.
Yeah, so when my tank is like really empty, I'm trying to fill it, then I'll spend like some 800, 850. Yeah. So I mean, it's like
mine is a little over 800, not exactly, but
how things are going in this country, Chale. And today is Friday. Some of us want to go and chill. How will we chill if we don't have money?
You want to chill?
Well,
you want to chill? You don't hear? You don't hear?
I don't hear.
You want to go and chill and make noise?
Yes.
Hey, let's do the new crusading guide, the new weekend crusading guide. You want to go and chill?
Yes.
We are in this together.
Oh no, no.
You want to go and chill?
So there's
when some of us after this will go
on Facebook, and they say that we'll continue to drink until the economy is better. So let the economy get better.
Ayo.
Thank you.
Ayo.
Sure.
Well, let's get into these ones. Berima Sapon gives back to Ifija Setra East constituency to mark his 40th birthday. Speaker hasn't banned phones from Parliament. Yesterday, I had an interaction with some representatives, some members of Parliament here, and they shared their thoughts on that ban. Agreeing, disagreeing, but I brought up the point about, for example, a parliamentarian would want to Google something and all of that. And they said maybe there could be iPads or, I mean, let's not give a brand, maybe some tablets or something available to them in Parliament so that they can access this. But sometimes it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Well, you could look at the cost-benefit analysis and do the math.
Yeah.
Gay bill not unconstitutional but faces fundamental challenges, Attorney General says so, re-echoing what you read from that other story. Happy Man Bitters CEO gets international honors. There's also 8 months after new board, Tor refinery still not operational. Industry experts worry. There's Instepri that has been talking about this. There's a statement put out by the executive director, Kojopoku, our very own friend. And that is it, basically, for the new weekend crusading guide.
Okay, let's go to the Ghanaian Times quickly. Africa records 346 terrorist attack in Q1 2022. We also have failure to check executive cause of exploitation of country's natural resources. Sensible use of herbal medicines doesn't cause kidney, liver, and heart problems, Benjamin. And I mean, sensible is in quotes there because most people, how sensible are most people? We also have market lords, much more than a war behind world's food crisis. And public sector workers dissatisfied with 10% increase in minimum wage. We had that conversation yesterday. And I mean, a lot of people are not happy with the 14 Ghana cedis 88 pesos because, I mean, someone was saying on Twitter that the daily minimum wage can't even buy a liter of petrol.
It can't even buy a loaf of bread.
It can't even buy a loaf of bread. So, I mean, while on that note, government is on path to rescue an ailing economy. That's according to the NPP.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into other stories, but let's welcome aboard Ben Efson, editor for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Uncle Ben, a very good morning to you. Hello, Mr. Efson. Okay, let me try this one more time. The editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper joins us, Ben Efson. Mr. Efson, a very good morning to you. All right, so we're practically running out of time. Let's do a few more papers. The Finder newspaper, Oforiatta to defend his record, respond to accusations today. And did you see our finance minister the other day? For a moment, he seemed to be nodding off.
You know what? Also, I think we're being very unfair on him.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. First of all, I mean, number one, we know that he's not well. Yeah. Number two is that, I mean, I'm sure the guy is really exhausted, and the guy is not.
That's the point I'm trying to make. He was exhausted. It was clear.
He was exhausted, and this whole thing that like we're showing his pictures. I mean, he's human, Charlie. I think it's very unfortunate. We should yeah, we understand that.
Is it unfortunate then? Is it unfortunate that the minority is putting him through this? Do you think?
You know what? The job needs to be done, right? But we also need to cut him some slack. Yeah. He's human. We know that he's not well, but we just need to relax. Is the minority being unfair? Is the minority being unfair by putting him through this? Not. They are not. But, Charlie, we should relax.
Because some of what I saw on social media was rather below the belt.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Let's bring in Mr. Efson now. Mr. Efson, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, my brother and sister.
Good morning, Uncle Ben.
All right, so let me just run these stories by you for quick reactions. There's Oforiatta to defend his record, respond to accusations. Today, he will be in Parliament once more, responding to some of those accusations. Then there is crashes. Motorcycles kill 811 in 10 months. It represents 41% of 1,985 killed between January and October 2022. Then two more stories. Maybe you can just respond to them together and come to Mapitso Sebidi. Will stop any shenanigans scheming by NPP in 2024 polls. That's according to Fifi Kwete. And finally, Bank of Ghana withdraws forex support for importation of rice, cooking oils, and others. Do you have any quick reactions to any of these stories?
Quickly, I'd like to talk about my sister who wants to chill. You have a choice. Go and chill this weekend and Monday what to work.
Sure. I'll definitely chill. As for the chilling day, I'm going to do it.
Do it. I mean, the consequences are there for you.
We all got choices.
Yeah, you see, I think that for many younger people who didn't live through the fuel crisis, Nigeria is a big country. They've had oil for some time. And yes, maybe 120 cedis a gallon, 110 cedis a gallon for diesel is high. But the alternative is more scary. Yeah. Nigeria vehicles queue 2 days for fuel. You go to a party and they give you a 2 gallons of fuel at the souvenir. I mean, if we get to Nigeria stage, we are going to have black marketeers selling a gallon of petrol at 200 cedis.
Yeah.
The step by Bank of Ghana is in the right direction. We were giving money to import toothpicks. You can't have it. We have local rights. So if the Bank of Ghana does not give you forex, which is a bit cheaper, and you go to the black market and you import and you're going to pay 4 times, when you go to the market, you have a choice. Having the very expensive imported rice or the local rice, which is edible, because the women, if I'm sure Joy can do that, when they now open the back and mix the imported rice with the local rice to maximize their profit. And finally, Oforiatta to resign, I think it's been long overdue. The president's first term, he did well. There are problems now. It is obvious that even his own MPs, you see, what many people forget is that the MPs have constituents back home who watch TV, listen to radio. So if people think, and Sekapedede is funny, but it's true. The day I have a forex friend, and for the past 2 months, every day I take down notes of how much the CD is falling, just to find out. And the day those MPs in Parliament decided that they don't want him, the cedi magically did not fall. So in Britain, Kwesi Kwarteng, before he presented the budget, cleared it with Liz, the then Prime Minister. When he presented it and the pound fell, the Prime Minister sacked him and she resigned. So I think that, I don't know what I think that President Akufo-Addo is in his second term. And with due respect to the president of this country, when they are in their second term, they are a bit reckless. So if he's going to resign, it will be better. Otherwise, it will be very embarrassing if it hits the fund and the MPs decide to vote against
whom are you saying it would be appropriate if he resigned? Is it the president or the finance minister?
Yes.
Right.
The easier way out, if the president doesn't want to fire him, the easier way out is maybe the president has accepted his resignation, maybe he's resigning on grounds of ill health, and the president has accepted it. Because you, the president, you are exiting. The constituents, especially in safe seats, winning your primaries in safe seats is more difficult because the constituents know that once you win, you are virtually in parliament. So if you disrespect them and will not push for area testing, you go and meet them there when they have the primary.
Okay. Mr. Epson, thank you so much. Unfortunately, the connection didn't allow us to exhaust the matters with you, but we are grateful all the same that you took the time to join us.
Thank you very much and have a blessed weekend, the two of you.
You too. Right. Thank you.
And that is Ben Epson, editor, Daily Dispatch newspaper. So just to re-echo, the title of my blunt thoughts for today, The Akufo-Addo Experiment and Our Economic Journey So Far. Crucial takeaways. The Akufo-Addo Experiment and Our Economic Journey So Far. Crucial takeaways. Would you like to know what I have?
Of course, always.
Okay.
I look forward to Blunt Thoughts every Friday. So when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, today's Friday, I can't wait to hear from Benjamin Akakpo on Blind Thoughts.
Well, let's find out what's in sports.
So in sports, Muftar Nabila Abdullahi interacts with former Black Stars player Anthony Bafo on Prime Take.
Tony, thank you very much for your time. Hope you're doing good.
You're very welcome. I'm well.
Yeah, it's been a while. How have you been doing?
I can't complain. I'm busy. And busy in regards to the business of football.
Yeah.
And I give thanks and praises. And I say every day, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Nagode Allah. That I'm occupied. And I've seen the world.
Yes.
I'm still seeing the world, and I believe that it is very important that we have faith and that we go step by step, and that we also leave some for others to come and inherit.
Yes.
I think this is very, very important.
About 8 years ago, I listened to you on a radio interview, and that was the first time I heard you say that there's no elevator to success, you must go through the stairs. Why is this something that is so synonymous when it comes to Anthony Bafo?
I don't rush in life. It's very, very important that you take your time in everything you're doing.
Yes.
I always tell you, don't change the way you are.
Yes.
By research, have the correct information. Sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
Don't go out for sensationalism. You have the headline and then the content is totally different.
Yes.
I don't believe in that. I believe in being organized, having a strategy. These are things my father, may so rest in peace, and my mom, alhamdulillah, she will turn 94 years, who's still alive, always tell me.
Wow.
Take your time. And Shakespeare also said, go step by step. Those who rush will stumble and fall. It is because my saying with there's no elevator to success, you have to take the stairs, is very simple. When you're climbing the stairs, okay?
Yes.
And you get to a certain level, you can look down. You know where you're coming from.
Yes.
When you continue climbing, you look up. You know where you're going to.
Where you're headed.
As simple as that.
Tony, tell me, how did you start that? How was your beginning like?
I was born and bred in Germany, exactly on the 25th May 1965, in Bonn, Bad Godesberg. Bad Godesberg was a suburb of Bonn, the former capital.
Yeah.
It was called the diplomatic city because most of the embassies were in Bad Godesberg.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A lot of children were born, a majority of children were born in a hospital. I was born in the house.
Okay.
Yes. It's funny, my mom told me this 20 years ago. In the Fasanerstraße 4, that was the first house my father stayed in.
Oh, okay.
In Germany. Yeah, I'm the 5th born out of 7. My elder brother, Joseph Woodley-Bafo, passed last year.
Oh, sorry.
We are left with 6. And I'm also the only one who went back home.
Oh, okay.
So
the rest are in Germany?
In Germany, in the United States.
Oh, okay.
I have a sister who's born in England, but she's also in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Cologne, Berlin, Munich, they are well spread. My mom is in Bad Godesberg, but she will be coming to Ghana soon, by God's grace. So, yeah, I started playing football when I was 9 years old. My elder sister, Rosalind, one day she came home. Her colleague in school asked her, he said, my father has a club. And he was asking if she doesn't have brothers.
Yeah.
So my immediate brother, Mike, who's 2 years older than myself, who's also, like my best friend in life.
Yeah.
So my sister Rosalind told us that, hey, they're training there. They want to see if you can play ball. And then I told my brother, let's go and show them. So we went there, but we didn't have football boots. At that day, it was raining. So we were wearing raining boots.
Yeah.
You see, those boots people use for fishing, or for farming, etc.
Yes, yes.
They were yellow. I still remember very well. And that was in exactly 1974. So we walked. We were a bit far because we were a bit shy.
Yes.
Because all the kids were there, and then he said, "Come, come." So we went there, and he said, "Where are your shoes?" He said, "No, we don't have football boots." My mom was not really pro football, you know. So we got there, and there was a big box. He said, "You, both of you, take a pair."
Yes.
Then I looked, I tried, I said, yeah, this one is okay. But my brother couldn't get. So I said, you take mine. I will play with the raining boots.
Were they smaller sizes? Or?
Smaller sizes,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Only one size. We have the same size up till now.
Oh, really?
Same like my kids, we have the same size, you know.
Oh, wow.
So I said, no, you take them. Because he's the elder one.
Yes.
So I played with the boots. I dribbled all of them and scored. Following the club came home.
Yeah.
And they said, we want him to register. You know, back there it's not like they will sign you. There's no, it's proper registration. You have to become a member, and every month you pay a certain amount.
Oh, okay. Membership fee or something?
Membership fee, exactly.
Okay.
And that's how the clubs, community clubs get running.
Oh, okay.
You know, we don't have that here.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So my brother and myself started. I played in the E-Jugend, which was under 9.
Oh, okay.
And my brother played in the under 11.
Okay.
Because he's 2 years older than me. And back in the days, I was a striker.
Oh, really?
You see,
You started out as a striker?
I started as a striker, and I was scoring all the goals. I was faster than them, and I always played 1 year ahead, like with the group.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how it started. I came in the district selection, North Rhine-Westphalia, which is the region where Cologne, Dortmund, Schalke, Duisburg, Leverkusen belong to.
Oh, okay.
So they had these selections, like regional selections.
Yes.
So I played there, and this is how it came. And you see, I was also interested in skateboard, roller skates.
Oh, really?
And that day I was skating with my brother, and we had a hill. We were young. It was really a hill which was not so easy to climb.
Yes.
But now, if I see the hill today, I always say, why is it so narrow? You know, but
now it was huge.
Yeah, exactly. So then my brother was on roller skaters, I was skating, and then a young man, he's called Mr. Leufen. I knew him from my club.
Okay.
He stopped with his children and he said, yeah, I have the message for you that FC Cologne, the U team, wants you. And Christoph Daum, at that time,
yes,
was the coach. And he said he wants you to come and train. And then I said, how am I going from Bad Godesberg to Cologne? They said, oh, you can come with us and until something is arranged.
That was just after those two?
Yeah. No.
Or you had played for a while?
Played for a while.
Oh, okay.
For 5 years with FC Bad Godesberg, but then I was 15.
Oh, okay.
You know, and yeah, this is also the time when I lost my dad. You know, so it was not easy. It was a very tough time.
That was a diplomat?
Yeah, he was an ambassador in Germany. He stayed as well in the UK. And yeah, at the end of the day, I signed for Cologne. And Christoph Daum was my youth coach. And after 3 years, I signed my first professional contract. That was in 1983.
Did you still have interest for the skating you were doing?
No, at that time, once in a while, I used to skate, do roller skates. I used to play basketball.
Oh, wow.
As well. I really love basketball. You know, that's why I love the generation like Abdul Karim Jaboy, going to Michael Jordan, you know, Finney Hathaway, Patrick Ewing, etc. You know, of course, Black Mamba, Kobe, Dennis the Menace Rodman. I could go on, you know. So, yeah, I signed for Cologne, and yeah, I was one of the youngest and one of the first blacks to play in the Bundesliga. And do you know who was the first?
CK Jamfi?
No. At that time, the Bundesliga was not existent. If you understand, the Bundesliga started in the 60s.
Okay.
You see, I'm talking about Bundesliga.
Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Okay. CK Akono?
No. CK came after me.
Oh, really?
Ibrahim Sonde.
Oh, okay.
He was with Werder Bremen in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played, I think, 2 or 3 matches.
Oh, okay.
At that time, he was studying at the same time.
Oh,
but CK Jamfi is an interesting name. He played for my club, Fortuna Düsseldorf.
Oh, really?
You know, so yeah, I played for FC Cologne, for Fortuna Cologne, Fortuna Düsseldorf, Stuttgart, the Kickers. I played in France, I played in Asia. If I say summa summarum, in a summary, I played 15 years of professional football.
Wow.
I played for the Black Stars, and yeah, one of the most memorable days I had was the 13th January 1991 at the Kumasi Sports Stadium.
When you made your national team
Yes. And
I'll come to that story pretty soon. But Tony, how was life in Germany? Like, I had a conversation with CK Akono on this very show, and he said at the time he came to Germany, racism was at its peak, and as one of the first few black players who had played in the Bundesliga, how was life like?
You see, CK came from Ghana.
Yes.
I remember the day very, very well. It was after we played the match in Kumasi. I think we even played against Burundi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when my former club, Fortuna Köln, wanted him.
Oh, okay.
You see, so then you had Etepe Kakoko, who was there, Evan Kostede, Jimmy Hartwig. Those last names I just mentioned, they were half caste.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had Santos Motubila, who was with Saarbrücken. Then we had a Togolese. He played for St. Pauli. Forgotten his name. My advantage was that I speak the language better than the Germans themselves. German, I speak High German. My other advantage was also that my mouth is very sharp. I didn't allow them to step on my toes. When I was younger, I used to hit them. I will give you a scenario. You remember the series Roots, Alex Haley, Kunta Kinte, Chicken George, Toby, Fanta, Kissy, okay? Our story. So I was working with my mom. You know, here in Ghana, the pavements are full of vendors, but over there you can't do it.
Yes.
We were walking. We were coming from the supermarket. I was holding the bags. And on the other side, there were kids calling, hey, look at Chicken George, Chakazulu, Kunta Kinte. And my mom said, don't mind them. I said, Mama, you're saying don't mind them. You're our mother. Me, I'll mind them. So I said, Mama, you wait here. She said, what are you doing? I said, just wait here. I crossed 3 or 4 guys. I beat them up. I said, do you see how strong Kunta Kinte is? Or Chicken George? Or Chakazulu? That was my way of defending
yourself.
Ourselves.
Okay, not just yourself, but others who were also of the black race,
And my mom came home and she told my father, hey, this is your son.
He's stubborn.
He's stubborn, Papa. And I said, what did he do? He beat all of them up. I said, Mama, Ad, what did they say? They said, Chicken George, Kunta Kinte.
And what does that mean? Chicken
These
George?
were the names for the slaves.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
That's what you have to understand. I don't care about the names, but they were calling us slaves.
I see.
You see, it's like, you know, we are the ones working on a cotton wool plantation.
Yes.
You know, so that was when I was younger. But later, you become wiser, you read more. I beat them verbally. You see, I told the player also once who racially abused me on the pitch, and we were winning. And I said, first of all, look at the scoreboard. We are down. And that was with Wattenscheid 09. Ali Ibrahim played there, and Suleiman Sane, Leroy Sane's father.
Oh, okay.
You know, we are good buddies.
Oh, really?
So he told me even, don't mind him, this guy, they're not going to prolongate his contract. I said, okay, this is a good weapon for me. He said something again in the match, and then I said, I heard your contract is running out. And they're not going to prolongate the contract because you are such a bad player. But you can come to Ghana. I have a cotton wool plantation. Only white people work there. So I was very sarcastic at the same time. Or I will enter a car which came to pick me for a TV interview.
Yes.
Then I was sitting at the back. I said, hey, Charlie, things have changed, huh? We used to be in front. The man didn't know how to react. So just to tell you, I didn't allow them to step on my toes. And when I was getting more recognized, more famous, today, if you want to voice out, let me say, anything which you don't like, you can just tweet, right?
Yeah.
Back in the days, there was no Twitter. There was no Instagram, no social media. They used to write letters to us. And I remember especially white women who were married to blacks and had mixed race children. They said, what should I do? My daughter comes home, she wants to take off her skin. And then, you see, when they wrote to me, they put the numbers and everything, you know, then no mobile phones, nothing. So I called the mothers to ask, what is the problem? Yeah, you see, they all see you on TV, and I tell them you're the uncle. I said, where do they go to school? They gave me the names of the schools. I drove to the schools. I drove there, and I said, and the kids were all coming, this is Anthony Bafo, this is Anthony Bafo. And I said, oh, my niece, come. You know, in our culture, we say uncle, auntie. So I gave them that confidence that I am with them. They are from my family. Everybody became quiet. That made me realize that now when I speak, I'm no more talking for only myself.
We're talking for the masses and generations unborn.
Yes, the minority. So I have to show them that I am with them and that they can look up to me. So a lot of things changed, and that made me read a lot about our culture, about our history. People say I'm a Pan-Africanist, but I say I'm an Africanist as well. I identify myself with my story and my history, and this is very important to me. So to tell you, it was a tough time. I had bananas thrown at me back in the days when Germany was divided with the East and the West. People were spitting at you, you know, whilst we were playing, and making monkey noises, you know. They said, "Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh, nigger in the bush." You see, until there was a time in the 90s where I called Anthony Yeboah and Suleiman Sane, and I said, look, a friend of mine was working for one of the biggest newspapers, the Bild Zeitung, and he said, look, I think it's enough. You have to do something. And I said, okay, I will call my guys, Anthony Yeboah and Suleiman Sane. We wrote, we all signed, and then we send it out in the papers that until here and no more. We're also human beings. Stop this. We play for your clubs, for the respective clubs, and I think we're also making the Bundesliga interesting. The next match I played in Werder Bremen. I saw a very big Bob Marley flag uprising, and that I think raised more consciousness. And that was the start of the battle against racism.
If you just join us, we are still speaking to Anthony Bafo here on A Prime Take. He's been giving us the story of how he started out, how he became a footballer, life in Germany as a footballer. And we're at a point where he's talking about how when Germany was divided into two, the West and East Germany, people could spit or throw banana or make monkey chants during matches. Tony, how did you cope in all these difficulties? And I remember one interesting thing you also mentioned, where you said that you and Sunny had to get one of the biggest newspapers in Germany.
Anthony Yeboah.
Yes, and Anthony Yeboah in Germany to publish that we make the German Bundesliga interesting and we play for your various clubs, which brings you joy week in and out. So we deserve some respect from you people. Tell us, how were you able to cope despite all these challenges?
But you know, the funny thing is, for instance, when I played for my club in Cologne, and then I played against Düsseldorf, the Düsseldorf, you know, the curve where all the fans were making monkey noises. But when I came to play for Düsseldorf, I was the crowd favorite.
Football fans?
Yeah. Sometimes they also do that to destabilize you.
Destabilize you.
Yeah, but you see, it was a battle, and you have to be mentally strong. And for me, I always thought about the next generation, for them to have it easier. You see, I was flamboyant in terms of the way I dressed. I used to have cornrow. I used to be the...
Exactly, I was going to come to that question.
I used to be the...
Where did he go?
I used to be the first black to play with cornrow. And they told me to cut my hair, you know, and I told them the more you talk, the longer it will grow, because I was preparing for my dreadlocks, for my hair to grow. And I think the most natural way for us to grow our hair is to braid it. You know, and yeah, after Senegal 92, I decided to grow dreads. I loved and still love the way the real Rastafarians think. If you look at Lucky Dube or if you look at Bob Marley, you listen to the lyrics, there's always a message in the lyrics. And at that time also, both of them took a lot of inspiration from the Bible. And they knew the Bible from A to Z. You know, so that was also sort of a rebellism, that you cannot tell me what to wear,
what to do,
or what to do. Yes, if you're a coach and I'm playing,
yes,
but not
how I look,
what I should wear. And one of my coaches, he was an Austrian. We lost the match against Suleiman Sane's team, a friendly match, I think 4-0, and I didn't play well at all. And then he said, look at you, you think you're Ruud Gullit with your braids and all these things. What is this? And then he continued talking. Then he asked if anyone has got something to say. And I said, yes. He said, what is the problem? I said, the suit you're wearing is very ugly. And he started, why are you saying this? Oh, what do you mean? I said, have you realized how you reacted when I attacked you personally? Personally. This is the same what you did. You can tell me that I played bad. You're the coach. I can't say anything because you're the boss. But please don't tell me what to wear and how to look. My color, I didn't choose it. It's God who gave it to me. So, and he said, oh, I'm not a racist. I said, who's talking about racism? Nobody spoke about racism. I just spoke about what you did to me, and I did the same to you, and you saw the reaction. And you want me to react cool? No way. So just to let you know that character is not, you can't learn it to have a certain character. Either you're born with it, and I was an activist. I'm still an activist. You see, Bob Marley said, I'm a rebel for a good cause. I'm a rebel for a good cause too.
How did you move from being a striker to a defender?
Well, you know, I think I'm not the only one who started like that.
Yes.
You see, at the end of it, that's how they discover you, because you score a lot of goals, you're different, you're faster than the others. And then gradually I moved to the defense, and then they put me on the right wing because I was quite fast, I could cross well. But my position was normally in the heart of the defense. But when you were 18, they would never allow you to play in the heart of the defense. It's not like today.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I started. That's how I came to play in Ghana too.
The defense, was it for only matured players or something?
Yeah, especially at that time we played with the libero.
Oh, okay.
You know, behind the two stoppers, etc.
Yes, I get
so when I was playing two, I played like a number 7. You know, moving forward, my shooting abilities and my shooting technique was quite good. I scored a lot of free kicks, penalties. I crossed a lot. You know, so, but you have to be versatile as a defender. And I believe when you're a defender, you must be able to play 4, 5, 3, depending on your leg, or 2, and also 6. This is how I grew up.
You're more of a versatile player.
Yeah.
How did your national team call-up come about? And before that, why did you choose Ghana over Germany?
When I was 15, 16, we were all in Duisburg. That's one of the regional technical centers. And all the regions came together. This is how they select the under-16 national team.
Yes.
And before that, they had a pupils national team.
Oh, okay.
There were like 7, 8 pitches, and all the regions, like I said, they are there. All the scouts from the German Football Association were there. And at that time, it was Bertie Fuchs who was the coach.
Okay.
And you know, then I was approached that I am on the list to be recruited for the under-16 national team.
Okay.
And when the coach spoke to me, he asked me, but you're interested, huh? And I said, well, I will come if you can give me one player in the senior national team with whom I can identify myself. Do you understand this?
Yes. It means that
there was no black at that time.
There was
just
no
to
black
answer your question.
inside the national team.
Yes.
The senior national team.
Yes.
So you couldn't identify yourself as a German.
Yes.
Tony, it's quite an interesting one. So then you chose to play for Ghana?
No, not by then. I didn't choose anything because I was 16. So I continued playing in my youth team, FC Cologne.
So you had played for the youth club and not for their youth national team?
Exactly. So I played in all the selections, you know, regional selections, etc. West German selection, you know. But then the next step, it never came. Even by then, if I would have played once, I could have never played for Ghana again. But by then, Ghana was not on my mind, to be honest. You see, I was just thinking of playing football. Yeah. And it was once in 86 or 87, Rudi Guttendorf. He was also the Black Star coach. I was playing in Stuttgart. And he approached me also that I should come and play for Ghana. And then it also didn't happen. You see, today we have international match days.
Yes.
Back then, it was not like that.
It was not there.
Especially Africa was not part of their plans. African Cup and qualifiers, you know.
So those structures...
No, we're not there, that you have a common international day, you see. But then the Europeans, of course, the players could go.
Yes.
But nobody thought of Africa then. And this is a great reform, you know. So, Ablade Kuma, Nanaya Amaning, Ali Ibrahim, and Richard Now. Even Michael Osei also came. We stayed together with my uncle, Andy Quist. And he was a Hearts fan. And yeah.
Oh, okay.
And but may his soul rest in peace. He passed. And Richard Now, Ablade Kuma, yeah, Nanaya Amaning, Ali Ibrahim, we're there, we're talking, and see, we were chopping kinke together. And if I see Ablade Kuma, you know, we have that saying that, hey, you still owe me my kinke. You know, but joke aside, when we're together eating, then one of them said, Tony, when are you coming to play for Ghana? And I said, when the time is right.
I'll come.
I'll come. Then Bokatsize, you know, you say Bokatsize, but the Germans say Bokatsize.
Oh, okay, okay.
He came to Cologne, and he said, at that time I was playing for Fortuna Düsseldorf, but I stayed in Cologne. I really want you to come and play for Ghana. And I repeated the same sentence. I said, the boys have already told me, and I promised them when the time is right, I'll come. In the winter period, from December to beginning February, we used to have indoor soccer.
Okay.
Today they call it futsal.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we used to play 5-a-side. It was part of the preparation.
Yeah, the 5-a-side.
Yeah.
We've all played some.
Yeah, but indoors,
yes,
you know?
Yes.
So then I asked my club, this is the invitation I have, you know, but then they sent a fax. You see, no electronic mail, it was a fax.
No email, it was always a fax, yes.
And then I said, the time has come.
I want to go and play.
Yeah, and I will never forget. Anthony Balfour has arrived, special bed for him. I arrived, and everybody thought I'm tall, but they thought I was such a giant, you know. And I also remember that picture between Ajit Lee and myself, the tallest and the shortest. So I arrived in Winneba at 3 a.m. They took me to the bungalow of the coach, where I slept. I got up in the morning and I said, please, where are the players? They said, no, you know, there are mosquitoes and you should stay here and sleep here. And I said, but I want to be with the team. I don't want to stay here. And they said, okay, please take the bed to the other side. I want to stay with the team. When I arrived, everybody was clapping. And Sabato, Ali Ibrahim, Nane Amaning was not there, but Richard now, they said, we told you, he's a Rasta man. At that time, I didn't have the locks, but they knew the way I was thinking. They said, he will never stay there.
Your kind of mindset.
Yes. So I got there, and then following day, 9 o'clock breakfast. It's 2 minutes to 9.
Yeah.
You know me and my time.
Very time conscious.
Yes. I was running to be on time at breakfast. Exactly 9 o'clock, I'm there. And I just said, welcome to Accra, welcome to Ghana. Nobody was there.
Oh. Yeah. So you got there and there was no one.
No one was there.
They said breakfast is at 9.
Yeah, no, nobody was there.
What time did they come?
Oh, they were coming 9:30, 9:40, you know. But I always said, this is not how I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You know, so I always kept to my time.
To your time.
Yeah. So so this is how I started, and then went to Kumasi on the 13th January. We played the match, full house.
Flying the picture is very famous online.
Yeah, and it is something which touches me up to today. You don't know the feeling I have when I listen to the national anthem. It's something special. And it was, you know, we won 4-0.
Yeah.
4 or 5 minutes to the end, Bokatsis told me, I will substitute you. I want you to get the feeling of the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, so and changed me. I had a rousing applause, and till now I have goosebumps. I never regretted to play for Ghana, you know. And there was a guy standing beside the substitute bench. You know, if I would have been a general coordinator, he could have never stand there. But back in the days, everything.
Yeah. There was so much freedom.
Yeah, there was so much freedom. I took the flag and I did the lap of honor. That symbolic picture has gone through generations.
Yeah.
When I spoke to Stephen Appiah, Matthew Amwa, Michael Eisen, Sule, they said, we remember you when you came to play for Ghana with the flag. Ibrahim Tanko even told me, he showed me, he was there, right, sitting there in the crowd. You see, same like Yusuf, Chipsa, you know, and it is something very, very special. And I've never regretted to play for Mother Ghana.
How would you describe your national team career?
Well, I played roughly 20-something games. And I played in the AFCON 1992 and 1994. After that, I made a statement, a strong statement against some of the officials. Because at that time, there was a lot of interference, this, that. And when I spoke, I don't know which player, he came to me, he said, hey, here, you know, you cannot say this, that. And I told him that nobody buys my dokunu for me. I buy it
yourself.
I buy it myself. And yeah, this is how I then didn't play for the national team again. They called me 3-4 times, but you know, I called it. Yeah, it was a good time, and
brief.
Yeah, it was like 5 years. You know, 4 or 5 years, and for me it's fine. I think I made an impact, you see, and I have good memories. Though I missed the penalty in 1992. And you know, people always talk about the bad one first.
I was always going to ask that question.
No, if you wouldn't have asked that question, you would not be a journalist. You know, so I scored the first. Everybody shot, and then it was my turn again.
Yes.
And Alain Guamene saved it, and I always tell him, I made you popular. You know, so we are very good friends.
But it rather made you unpopular, because many people actually felt that Ghana could have won that tournament if he had buried that.
I don't think he made me unpopular, but then I think people knew that I was the first to be born in the diaspora to play for Ghana. And I think I had a very good African Cup as well in 1992. Yes. Even when we arrived, people carried me. Yes. And what happened when we got back?
So I saw a picture online when I was doing the research for this conversation. And I saw a picture that you were being carried. Right?
Yes. When we arrived at the airport.
Oh, okay.
You see, and we went town to town. I don't know what would have happened if we would have won the cup.
That would have been something else.
Yeah, it was crazy. And you see, maybe today, with all the social media, people would have insulted me, maybe. Yeah, you never know.
Yes,
you see, possible. But I think people know to now that I'm a patriot, that I love Ghana, I love Africa. And one journalist even asked me, do you feel like stopping your career? And then I asked him, did Maradona stop his career when he missed a penalty? Did Lothar Matthäus stop his career when he missed a penalty? In life, people always remember bad things.
The bad ones.
You understand? But I have a lot of positive things to tell about Ghana and the national team. And up till now, I never regretted it.
Tony, there are many stories about that grand finale of Senegal 1992, about how you became the captain for that final. Many people actually say that, okay, it was the decision of the maestro for you to captain the team. What transpired?
Maestro and myself, up to now, we are very close. He's a brother. We speak very often. We shared one big bet together in the national team.
Okay, so you were his roommate?
Yeah, we were his roommate.
Oh, okay.
And you see, a lot of people speak about things they don't know. So what you have heard, somebody has told you. Now you're speaking to the source. Sebidi never ever told me that I'm going to be the captain for the finals. And this is how it is. For me, to tell you honestly, there were a lot of things going on, but I was new in the team. There are a lot of things even I got to know about later. And you see, we are in 2022. We're getting to 2023. And we're still talking about it.
That's exactly 30 years today.
Yeah, for me, it's, I heard people, former colleagues speaking about it. I'm okay with my soul, that I didn't go to ask for the captainship to be given to me.
Yes.
It was Otto Pfister who did it. But I never knew what was behind these things, because I was new in the team.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
I see.
Later on, I got to know so many things, because for me, I didn't care about if this one is an Ashanti or Ga or Ewe. I wanted to come and play and also win the cup.
So there was this kind of, this person is Ashanti, this person is a Ga, this person is a Neve. There's some kind of tribalism in the camp?
No, I can't say that, but there were groups. In every national team, you have groups, people who get along more than others. But you see the impact later.
It had on the team.
It had on the team. I didn't know the sources, the depth behind all this. You see, because
it was just an innocent player.
Absolutely.
Within the team.
And that's why also even when people always bring it up, it's 30 years ago. For me, it's
quite weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's gone, and it's done.
I do recall some of those stories where someone said you even had a fight with Anthony Yeboah. Was that true?
Never in life. Never in life. We never had an argument. Anthony Yeboah was very good to me. We used to visit each other in Germany, and when I came to play, he opened his arms and his doors to me. He made me feel very comfortable in the national team. So same like Abukari Damba at that time.
Yes.
Joe Addo was there. I told you already. Yeah. Richard Now, Ali Ibrahim, Frimpong Manso, Emmanuel Ampia, Emmanuel Ama Senegal, and the others. They were very, very accommodative to me. Yeah.
So Tony, just to wrap up on the national team.
Mm-hmm.
Is it disappointing, or how disappointing is it for you that that generation you met, because many people have said, is the best generation in terms of talent that Ghana have had? Abedi Pele, yourself, Anthony Yeboah,
Odate
Lamte,
Ali Ibrahim.
They were never able to qualify for the FIFA World Cup.
Stanley Abora, Prince Polly. I think the last bit of everything is team spirit. And the way we beat Nigeria in the semi-finals, the spirit was very, very high. And later, it was sad. This is what I heard also, but the captainship matter damped
the spirit of the team.
The spirit of the team. And the cup normally was for us. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. That's why I always emphasize on good team spirit. It can take you very, very far. I remember Germany, just talking about the team spirit. Marco Reus, he was the best player of the season. Yes. Even now, he's injured again. He cannot go to the World Cup.
He's quite an unfortunate player when it comes to playing a tournament.
So, he was the best player of the season. I repeat it. Germany won without him the World Cup. You know, so team spirit is very, very important. And I think it's also important when players, and this is not so really in our culture, that we face a problem and we tell a player one-on-one, look, this and this is happening, we are not happy with this and that. You know, the generation of today is a bit different.
Welcome back, Ghana 4 on the AM show. Time now for me to share with you my blunt thoughts. This morning, I've titled it The Akufo-Addo Experiment and Our Economic Journey So Far. Crucial Takeaways. In this past week, we've been hit with startling news about the former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubuahin, and some sums of money he took for shopping and all of that. Apart from everything else we know, I find it curious what he says about attendance fees and some $200,000 that would supposedly suffice in getting the attention of our vice president, together with some considerations for his family for business purposes. Now, in the latest documentary put together by ANAS, the vice president and the president's names pop up again. Is the fact that the VP and the president's names have twice been tied to shady dealings proof that they are in fact culpable? No. Yet it is incredibly worrying that on 2 occasions with the former GFA boss and now a Minister of Finance, the 2 highest offices of our land have been pointed to in very distasteful terms. In number 12, Kwesi Nyantakyi suggested he could negotiate the monetary terms with our president and vice president. This time round, it is a Minister of State saying so. Just how much should we believe? Should we take all of this with a pinch of salt? You decide. But brothers and sisters, in Matthew 7, 1-5, we read the following. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Why do I say all this? In 2016, our current president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, came to our very doorsteps in all humility, pleading with us to give him a chance, to try him too. We bought into his message, and in fact took a chance on him. 6 years down the line, however, what have we got in return? Some positives, yes, and misery galore, a tragic cocktail. But this wasn't what we were promised. A typical example is when sometime in 2016, now Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia told us that the NDC administration since 2009 had borrowed some 40 billion American dollars. and that sum of money could have built for us 1,142 factories. Well, having borrowed some $53.2 billion as of July 2022, that could have built us some 1,513 factories. After 6 years, and with a clear policy on 1D, 1F, and with more borrowing, what do we have to show in that regard? Your administration has borrowed how many more factories? So much more, but how many more factories could you have built with your solid team? Would you mind telling us, Mr. Vice President? Or is it like an animal farm, 4 legs good and 2 legs bad? Well, the 2-legged chickens surely have come home to roost. On the back of the very things you said, Dr. Vice President. Your own words must be giving you nightmares, but hey, you'll have to live with them. Where are those factories? If we had them, we obviously wouldn't be in the dire straits we find ourselves saddled with currently. By this time last week, we knew inflation had shot up in October to 40.4%, and that year-on-year diesel had soared in price by 155.6%, and petrol by 111.9%. The palm oil or red oil we use for many of our meals had increased in price by a whopping 105.9%. Even the water we drink had experienced inflation of up to 64.3%. Diesel may have dropped in price by some 3 Ghana cedis from a staggering 23.99 Ghana cedis, and petrol by about 2 Ghana cedis from a mind-bending 18 cedis and 99 pesos. But LPG prices are still going up, and the agenda to stem the tide of using charcoal, which has its own consequences to our health and the destruction of our environment, is up in the air. Just yesterday, I had to patiently listen to the lamentations of a woman who had filled her gas cylinder with, guess what, over 400 Ghana cedis, and this is just for domestic purposes. Imagine then what business people who use gas are going through. Look, some marginal positive change has been brought to bear on the fuel prices, all well and good, but it is clear we need a whole lot more done to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. Again, in the midst of all these price hikes, which by the way do not necessarily change even when fuel prices drop and exchange rates are better, how can we peg the minimum wage as it is now from 13.53 Ghana cedis to 14.88 from January next year? Look at inflation and fuel prices alone. How? In the meantime, let's calculate price hikes in fuel, transportation, rent, food, prices, water, and all of that. How about fluctuations in the exchange rate and still rising general inflation, neither of which we have been able to curb? A bag of cement alone is selling at a whopping 100 Ghana cedis. In fact, my checks reveal for most ordinary workers, transportation is well over 500 Ghana cedis per month. So how is this, by any stretch of imagination, logical in mitigating the unbridled suffering of the street sweeper who earns a pittance, the one working at one of these foreign malls and barely earning around saying? How? This also is why the e-levy rate ought to be revised downward, maybe below 1% in the next budget. So the pressure is eased on those transacting. And so more people can come on board and not get, around the system. The result? Definitely more funds in the state's kitty. Now, as we speak, Mr. President, per the Wisconsin newspaper, which we read just this morning, our young female students in university are selling their eggs for money in Accra and Kumasi. That, Mr. President, is how bad things have become. An importer recently shared this. Just 3 months ago, I was bringing 50 tons of rice by articulator load at 14,000 Ghana cedis. Today, I am paying 60,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. President, before I end, I just want to pause here, go to my slides, and wrap as I share my message with you. When you look at what we have here, what the minority is accusing the finance minister of, from 2018, saying that the finance minister reported a fiscal deficit of 3.9% and excluded expenditure line items worth 9.8 billion for the finance sector payments. This is also captured here. It goes beyond the 5% we look at. Then, according to the minority again, the minister said the fiscal deficit was 4.8%, excluding the 3.1 billion financial sector payments and the 5.1 billion energy sector payments. When you look at Section 2 of our fiscal responsibility rules, it states, the overall fiscal balance on cash basis for a particular year shall not exceed a deficit of 5% of the GDP for that year, and an annual positive primary balance shall be maintained. Have we got that? Section 4 says, Parliament may, in accordance with Article 82 of the Constitution, pass a vote of censure on the minister where the minister breaches Section 2 by more than 1 percentage point. And again, going back to the public financial management, you would notice that the fiscal rules could be further strengthened about 2.8 percentage points of GDP in financial and energy sector costs. That is financing in part through the ESLA bond and all of that. The question is whether we've taken advantage of all of these. Again, it mentions that according to best international practice, this would include these transactions above the line as they reflect either direct government obligations or government transfers to SOEs. But when you look at our risk assessment matrix, RAM for short, and you look at the nature or sources of our risk, it's usually politically driven fiscal loosening in the run-up to the 2020 elections that could translate into weak revenue collections, tax forbearance, and spending. And look at the relative likelihoods. It is high in terms of election periods in the past, which have coincided with large fiscal slippages. Then you look at the expected impact if realized. A strong political cycle could lead to higher deficits and debt, undermine budgetary integrity, and again, associated loss of confidence could trigger pressures on the exchange rate and reserves. And the policies to mitigate the risks, rigorously applying fiscal rules, recording all fiscal financing operations in line with the PFM Act and regulations, and including debt from off-budget operations in government's debt. But quickly taking a look at the minimum wage. Look at how things have escalated over the years, Ghana 4. Our minimum wage is marked with the cyan coloring. The poverty line is right here. In 2012, our minimum wage was quite a number of percentage points above the poverty line. In 2015, they came together. There was a merge. But since that time, it's been pretty close. And now look at where we are. The minimum wage has fallen for the first time in over 10 years below the poverty line, which also means that if you are earning the minimum wage, look at that, even purchasing a loaf of bread would be problematic. Again, in terms of the percentage changes yearly, look at where we've gone from 2013. Look at how the minimum wage in terms of percentage has slipped from 16.9 in 2013 to 10 now, even on the back of everything we're facing. Just to wrap with some talk about the e-levy. When you look at its description and our estimates, we're looking at 6.96 billion. We revised that figure to 4.5 billion. Then, when it came to Q2 budget, look at our expectations there. And now look at the accruals. Provisionally, in the first time, we got 93.7 million, which was just about 6.4%. If you look at our month-on-month targets for May and June, we estimated to get 487.4 million. We got only 39.4 million. That was 8.08%. In June, the estimate was 417. We got 54.3 million, an upward trajectory. And the estimate there was 12.99%. But that tells you something definitely. That if we lessened the figure, we probably would be able to get much more in terms of the e-levy. So, Mr. President, I am re-echoing for you what I said last week. Fix the country. Fix the country, Mr. President, and cease with the plenty talk. That was what you told former President Mills. It was what you said to former President Mahama. No country was ever built on talk, Mr. President. But guess what? Talk is dirt cheap. If you have anything good to offer the people of Ghana who trusted you enough to give you their mandate, a chance to fulfill your lifelong dream of becoming president, it is now. And that is why, Mr. President, I wish you well. But always remember, posterity will judge you for your actions and inactions today. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, and undiluted. As always, God richly bless Ghana and make her great and strong. Thank you for staying with us. Back on the AM show, and on our first big story before we talk sports again, we take a look at what is happening in Parliament today, that motion of censure against Ken Ofori-Atta. But interesting dynamics come up. When you look at the front page of the Daily Guide today, the question is posed, Ofori-Atta to resign? cabinet reshuffle looms. Well, we get into that conversation ahead of what will happen today in Parliament with our guests, Edem Senanu, an anti-graft campaigner, and we're also joined by Kobina Atta-Bedu, a procurement analyst. Thank you, Edem and Kobina, for joining the conversation.
Thank you for having us, Ben.
Great. I'll start with you, Edem. So when you look at the dynamics so far, what has happened? What happened a few days ago, which brings us back to Parliament today? What did you make of that initial sitting of the ad hoc committee? Briefly on that.
Well, in my mind, parliamentary processes ought to be followed, and the Parliament of Ghana is seeking to do what is in the best interest of this country. I think that that initial sitting was the kind of thing we'd expect. I'm hoping that the further work the committee is supposed to do will also be done, and they report back as expected by the Speaker, so that then the follow-up actions can be taken.
For you, Kobina, what do you make of that initial sitting in Parliament?
Frankly speaking, it feels to me as if we are having to go through the motions. But what will happen afterwards is what is important to me. Looking at the words of the majority, it has become obvious that whatever findings the committee comes up with, it will come down to coming to the plenary, and it will come down to voting. And the majority have made their position clear that they are not going to support the censure. So actually what is happening is a charade. Then that is what it comes down to.
You call it a charade. Why?
Because they are doing something probably for posterity's sake to show that, yes, we tried, we did this. But what the people, and believe you me, this is not only about the 80 members of parliament who petitioned the president. It is about what the people of Ghana are asking for. And if the president says that he was voted into power by the people, and the very people who put him there are insisting that take this man out, everybody, including your own party members, are saying, take this man out. And he is adamant to take him out. Then what it means is that indeed, partiality and nepotism is bad for governance. And he is a perfect example of that.
Now, to both of you, I'll start with you, Edem. When you look at the points that are raised by the minority in Parliament, as far as this vote of censure or motion of censure are concerned, they talk about fiscal recklessness, they talk about conflict of interest, 7 crucial points that they make mention of. Are you in agreement with any of those points? Yesterday, I had the Member of Parliament for Anyaso Utum, who is a member of the MPP, come here and say that, well, they could have agreed with other points, but not those 7, because in the end, they could also border on criminality. Do you agree, as far as fiscal management is concerning, as far as our debt ceiling is concerned, and what the finance minister has done? Has he been as poor, reckless, as the minority paints the picture?
I think that the evidence on hand suggests that really, and it's probably not just the minister, that they have breached the laws of this country. Public financial management has not been followed, ceilings have not been adhered to, and if you look at whether it's the PIAC report, etc., there's no doubt in my mind that the painstaking nature of the task and mandate assigned to the minister has not been fulfilled. I will not begrudge the minority's position, and obviously all of us know why the majority are taking that position they are. Except that I also know that, as we have seen in the past, it depends on how the speaker asks for the vote to be done. You may still have the majority saying that we have a position, but if the speaker says that this is going to be a vote that is not a public vote, we've had surprises in the past, and we could have surprises going forward. So I align fully with what the minority is saying. I think that the evidence is too clear for anyone to suggest otherwise. I think that this is a very important and unprecedented point, a moment in the time in the history of this nation. We should not fail to do what is right for the citizens of this country. Otherwise, I don't know what the NPP thinks or the members of the NPP think the future will look like. So we need to be very cautious. They should not think that right-minded Ghanaians are not paying attention. And by the way, we are all feeling the pinch and feeling it hard. So that has a lot of implications. So yeah, those would be my thoughts.
Let me come to you, Kobina. You hear Adam Senanu concurring, agreeing with the minority. I'll walk you through the list of items as a procurement person. Conflict of interest, unconstitutional withdrawals from the consolidated fund, illegal payment of oil revenues into offshore accounts, deliberate and dishonest misreporting of economic data to Parliament, fiscal recklessness leading to the crash of the Ghana cedi, incompetence and frightening ineptitude and gross mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy. These are not things you can take lightly. Do you agree that the finance minister has dabbled in some or all of these?
I fully concur with them on these points. Now, let's take the first issue of conflict of interest,
right,
which has provisions in the Constitution. And it's typical for corporate governance all over the world. The gold standard of which is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act.
Okay.
There is no way any organization that is directly related to the finance minister should be transacting business with the finance minister. Now,
but just
the procedure for
a quick
situations
point.
like that.
Just a quick point.
The procedure for situations like that,
right,
is that you should declare the conflict of interest.
Okay.
And recuse yourself. Then someone else would lead the transaction. My question is, can he provide documents and evidence to show that prior to the engagement of the entity associated to him, did he go through the motions? If you ask him today, he may be able to present you documents, but did it happen prior to their engagement? That is where the OSP can interrogate, investigate, and will find out. Because even if it's a digital documentation, if we go to the source document, if it's a Word document, go to the properties of the document, you'll be able to tell when that document was created. I'll give you an example of something, and I have personally seen it, read it. There's a project that we have spent $36 million called Smart Work. It was done during the COVID. That was supposed to help the public sector workers work remotely. That whole transaction was done without PPA approval. $36 million was spent without single source, without PPA approval. It was done, finished, and they went for what is called ratification. Now, let me tell you, when it comes to ratification, number one, it means that there's been an infringement. There's been an investigation. And after the investigation, the ratification is granted because a liability has been created, which you can't undo. So you ratify so we don't get into judgment debt. But normally, someone should be punished. Now, that transaction was led by the Ministry of Communications through its agency, NITA. Now, who has been punished for that? Again, the minister appointed the chairman of the Public Procurement Authority. He violated the Public Procurement Act by appointing that person because based on the competencies that had been spelled out, that person should not be there. But he is there. I personally wrote to him, delivered it to his office, sent a copy to the Speaker, sent a copy to the Council of State, asking that the chairman and the 3 members do not qualify to be there according to the law. Why are they still there? That is cronyism. So we are not only dealing with nepotism in this government, we are dealing with cronyism as well, and it is bad for governance. So if I pick the first one of conflict of interest, you have nepotism and cronyism playing heavily.
Quick comment, Kobina. Quick comment. Quick reaction.
How bad the situation is.
Kobina, can you hear me? So I just want to this excuse or rationalization of the situation is often put forward. When mention is made that Databank, for example, was a transactional advisor even before Ken Ofori-Atta became Minister of Finance, does that water down this accusation in any way?
It doesn't, because they are not in contract in perpetuity. It is transactional advisory. It means you contract him for a transaction. He could have served as a transaction. That is why, you see, let me be honest with you. When Ken was appointed, people raised issue. I am one of those who supported him. My basis was, he is a Ghanaian first. He is a professional second, before he's a cousin to the president.
Right.
Does the fact that he is the cousin of the president preclude him from offering his services to the state if he has what it takes? That was my defense for his appointment. Now, once you have been appointed, you have to satisfy your merit for being there. Now, the question is, has he earned being there? Obviously, his performance is there for us to see. Should he still be there? Hell no. Why is he still there? The president is protecting him. Why should the president protect him? Simply, he's his cousin. We'll go home. We'll have to face ourselves. That is nepotism. That is bad for governance, period.
Adam, I interacted with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, himself a statesman and a founding member of the MPP, and he said that on the back of some of the things that had happened, where proud people will not go to the IMF, and having gone to the IMF, the finance minister should have resigned by now. In fact, he should have resigned there and then when we had to go to the IMF. Then he also says that the finance minister could be at post because he is sitting on some rot that maybe would be exposed if he were to leave. But how then do you react to his own caucus in Parliament stating that they do not want him, and the entire ping pong between let's not have a motion of censure, but we are not in agreement with him, will not partake in government business? What do you make of it all?
Well, I get worried that our governance, the political economy and the business of government is now being infiltrated by business caucuses and cartels who then begin to determine what happens. And let me explain. Are you
referencing this businessman who supposedly went to try and do something with the members of parliament?
Maybe it's an allusion to that as well. Okay. Because it looks like the political landscape, depending on who funds what and the level of money is put in, you have a seat at the government table, and that seat effectively becomes a permanent position, which cannot be shifted because there's a sense in which maybe you may have paid $250,000 or $500,000 or something, and people don't want to shake it because they shake the establishment because there's too much on the table that might come into the light when one begins to say A should go and B should stay. And I'm just trying to project. I know I haven't answered your question directly, but there has to be other reasons. So yes, I would align with those who are saying that it's got to be more than just we like the name Ofori-Atta, so that name must still be there.
Right.
There must be a good reason why the president is finding it difficult. Pabna talks about
what is your reason? What do you think?
No, I think that absolutely they must go beyond than just the family relationships. Right. I suspect that there must be to do with the financial arrangements. A reason why the president is finding it so difficult to say this man can go. Whereas all the evidence, whether you look at international best practice, whether you look at the facts on the ground, it points us in the direction that this ought to have happened even voluntarily, much earlier than where we find ourselves today. And that would have spared us all this, the increasing crescendo in this space. And I'm hoping that somehow, somebody's going to have the good sense of saying that, look, let's think about this differently and do things differently so that we don't, get to a point where it is so obvious that it is much more embarrassing than it could have been if we had taken this decision much earlier.
Okay, so just a bit of a top-up. They wanted Ken Ofori-Atta to go together with Charles Edouboahen. We all know the Charles Edouboahen issue, so that is out of the picture. But the Daily Guide reports that he could be resigning soon, that there could in fact be a cabinet reshuffle. Would you expect the resignation of the finance minister in the coming days, especially as we have what is going on in Parliament, where he's going to be defending himself today?
Given the posture of the first gentleman of the land as well as the Minister of Finance, I doubt that he would voluntarily do that. I think that it has to be the president's call to rearrange things in such a way that it doesn't seem worse than it seems already.
Okay.
So I don't see him voluntarily putting in a resignation.
Okay.
The parliamentary processes, depending on how the vote goes, and so that's why the speaker needs to make a choice that allows even the majority to then be comfortable. Because I'm quite sure that some members of the majority understand that, look, this is terrible. And for the sake of the people, the public interest, we need to do the right thing. In which case, the vote itself will tell the story.
All right. Let me come to you, Kobina. Do you also have that feeling that maybe there could be more to Ken Ofori-Atta being a post on the back of some of what we've enumerated, just beyond nepotism? Do you feel there could be something else which keeps him in that position?
Yes, of course. Definitely. In Akan, there's a proverb that says that Sebidi and papa nyechrede. So, if someone begins to act in a certain way or talks in a certain way, you ask yourself, what is informing this? Now, if you look at the level of uproar, including from within his own party, and he has this posture, and the president has taken this posture, the question that beggars ask is, why is he adamant to leave? This man says he's there, he doesn't take a salary, he's serving Ghana. So if you are giving your services for free and the people say they don't want it, why don't you want to leave? Now, if you cast our mind back, right from the beginning, 2017, we had the issues of Franklin Templeton, and conflict of interest issues were raised. And it has run through. We have issues of his competencies being questioned. I remember at one occasion, he was at Ashesi University for an event, and I posed the question that was read to him. And I asked him, what is he doing about expenditure management?
Right.
Very soon, we are in November, we are going to be presenting the budget to Parliament. Believe you me, all our focus will be on income and raising more revenue and raising more taxes. But you would have nothing concrete, and I mean concrete, actionable items to do with expenditure management. So if you tell me that we are cutting expenditure by 30%, as a procurement person who does spend analysis, I would want to understand where you are cutting this from, what are the drivers, what are the levers, what is the level of fat that is on it, which is why you are cutting. You don't just cut for cutting's sake. These are competencies. Now, where are the skills in the ministry to deal with these things? So, even if the president wants to move him today, it is too late. He should have done that years ago.
All right. So to wrap the conversation, gentlemen, I'll give you a minute and a half, 2 minutes apiece. I want you to look at these issues. One of you made mention, I've forgotten which one exactly, that even in terms of the allegations that have been leveled against him, the special prosecutor must come in. Someone has also spoken about the businessman, okay, in question, who came to Parliament hoping in a way to influence the decision as far as the finance minister is concerned. What are your thoughts on these two matters? And as that ad hoc committee reconvenes today to sit in Parliament, what will be your expectations? I'll start with you, Kobina.
Yes, so I raised the special prosecutor issue. Now, if you look at all those items that have been listed, it borders on criminality.
Okay.
Or most of them border on criminality. And especially when there's procurement involved, the special prosecutor has the mandate to address those issues. So I'd expect the special prosecutor to pick them up.
The businessman?
And yes, that is also cronyism, because what it means is that the businessman actually perpetuated influence peddling. Now, is it true that he went there? Is it true that he offered bribes? Because if he offered inducements, it is bribery and it is criminal, and it means it has to be gone into. Now, we are all hearing rumors in the corridors and on the street corners that it is ex-businessman or Y businessman. If indeed it is ex-businessman, there are many, many more instances of influence peddling and alleged bribery that has been put up against him. Why is he still there? In ordinary terms, in normal governance, he shouldn't be doing any business with the government. Why is he doing business with government?
So just add on, what are your expectations as the committee sits today?
If I was him, I would resign, because he has built a perfect career up until this time, and he has thrown all down the drain. And to save his own face, it is better he resigns than he is sacked.
All right. Kobina, thank you. Just hold for me as we wrap the conversation. Adam, you have a minute. What are your thoughts?
Well, yes, there's a lot of criminality going on. I think that we have enough evidence of that. So the special prosecutor should be minded.
Okay.
The business angle worries me because beyond we need to look at the political party financing thing critically, and beyond that, within the 4-year space, how do we manage all these business persons who are, openly trying to give money here, influencing? We need to think through those processes some more and think, how do we manage that? Because a lot of it could be done on the quiet side and therefore influence the kind of results that ought to inure to the people of this country, but will not.
Right.
Ad hoc committee needs to understand that this is not a very small issue. It's not just about the process. It's not just about going through the motions. The people of Ghana are heavily invested in what is going on in Parliament at the moment. And I'm hoping that both the majority and the minority work together for us to understand that they are truly our representatives and not just there to tick the boxes and make pretense that they are there on behalf of the people of this country. We are watching them.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Kobina Atabedu is a procurement analyst, and of course, Edem Senanu is an anti-graft campaigner. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you too.
Great. Now, after the break, we have a conversation with Oxford Royal Summer School and how you can be a part of this awesome experience and opportunity. Later on, we'll also be interacting with Enterprise Life. And stay, because much later, we also dissect the fortunes of the Black Stars in the Mondial coming up in Qatar 2022. All that's still to come on the AM show. Stay. Well, thank you for staying with us. And as announced, we're going to have that conversation on the Oxford Royal Summer School and how you can be a part of this awesome experience and opportunity. Well, joining us for that conversation, we have the Sales and Marketing Director, Oxford Royal Academy, Clark McPhee. He joins the conversation. We also have Benjamin Mensah, CEO, Global Reach Study Abroad. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Great. Let's start with you, Clark. This whole Oxford Royal system. Tell us a bit about it. What is it?
Yeah, it's an academic summer school, academic and fun. For 2 weeks, the students get to live on campus at the University of Oxford, University of Cambridge, Imperial College London, or Yale University.
Right.
And the idea is it inspires the students and it helps ambitious students achieve more. They come for 2 weeks and they have academic lectures, workshops, they have famous guest speakers coming to talk to them, and they have fun as well. So we do theatre trips, we do sports events, parties, and they mix with students from over 170 different countries. So it's a chance for them to interact with students from Germany, Brazil, France, and get a global perspective.
So it's interesting you talk about that global perspective, because whether you're in Ghana or wherever else, you're looking at the global market and how you can build yourself and, you know, fit into that system. Is this an Oxbridge collaboration then?
It is. Well, so the founder of the company was an Oxford graduate, and we hire the conference facilities, we hire the college rooms to run our programs. We employ academics from the University of Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, top academics and experts in their field. But it's an independent company running a program on the university. The University of Oxford don't run their own summer school for children, but we feel it's important to give young people a chance to aspire to go to those top universities.
And I'm sure some people are definitely going to be inspired. But let me come to you, Benjamin. What is all of this for? What is in it for those who are going to be participating in terms of the age groupings and in terms of even subject areas? Tell us a bit about that.
We have, since last year, been in Ghana. We've got children from the ages of 13 to 18. And this is an opportunity for them to experience.
Is that like a closed...
Well, we've also got adult programs where 19 plus students can go to it. But it's really, really important that we emphasize that 13 to 18 is our main cohort. So a huge majority of the students who come from schools in Ghana and across Africa go to this summer school. Where they experience, you know, what it is like to be a student in some of these universities, and also try subjects, because a huge majority of these students would want to go to university and study something, right? So there's an opportunity for them to go and try out that. So we do medicine, we do architecture, and it's brilliant for them to help them through the process of maybe applying to go to university.
So it's like a get ready, you know, pre-university sort of step.
It certainly
but it
is.
puts you on the global, you know, stage where you get to see what your options are. Really.
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of doing it. And I think a lot of them, we know that historically quite a few students from Ghana end up going to study abroad, right? And I think it's the best opportunity for them to be able to do this through us.
Okay. Now that you mentioned Yale, and I was just reading, was it yesterday, that, you know, the numbers going to the US, for example, have seen a spike. So I guess these would be interesting times to engage in some of these. But do you have an outfit in Ghana? I'm sure a lot of those watching us are wondering, how do we even get in touch with you?
Absolutely. I think it's the best kept secret for the individuals in the top schools in Ghana. We're in schools. We've got a team based out in Ghana with an office around we're in the Atlantic Tower in airport. And that team go to schools, they interact with parents, counsellors, you know, and sometimes visit sort of families to talk about our programs. So we're on the 7th floor in the Atlantic Towers, and we've got an office there, yes.
Okay, apart from these matters you've mentioned, I'm sure people are also thinking of insurance, visas, flight. How do they navigate all of that with you, or are you a one-stop shop for everything?
We have to be. We have to be, because clearly we talk about value, and it's I'm sure Clark will talk about price very soon. But you know, we want to make sure that it's not all about just paying us and that's it. We have to be a one-stop shop, end-to-end process. So we do visas, we do flights, we do insurance, we do airport transfers. You know, and it's quite interesting when you see children in schools in Ghana, 3 months later, you see them at Heathrow Airport. And I know the faces. So it's that unique selling point for us, really.
How can one enroll? What are the processes?
So you can go onto the website and enroll. Obviously, with Global Reach Consultants, you can enroll through them. They can help you through the process. And it's important for us to have a partner in Africa that can help with the end-to-end whole package.
Navigate the process.
Yeah, because for many parents, they wouldn't want to send their child alone to the UK, but obviously going as part of a group, it makes it much easier for them to do that.
Maybe for both of you, I'm sure those watching us are also concerned. There are these international tests sometimes, IELTS, you know, the TOEFLs, the SATs and all of that. Do any of those who want to, you know, participate in this program have to go through this? Maybe I would like you to touch on the 13 to 18 group, and then you mentioned the 19 plus. Benjamin, starting with you, both of you. Okay, so Clark goes first.
Yeah, so with the qualifications, they don't need to take an English test if they've studied in English in their own country, in their own school. So there are no requirements from there. If you're coming from a country where you're not studying in English, then you would have to take TOEFL or IELTS, but in Ghana, that's not the case.
So if a student were coming from the Ivory Coast, for example, that student would have to take it. But not a Ghanaian student, not a Nigerian student.
No.
Okay, exactly. Point made.
And I think it's really important. We get to take loads of children from the countries that you mentioned, and quite a few of them study in Ghana in English.
Right.
So it's an access. They can come into it. We had close to 50 students last year from Ghana. From really, really good schools. And I think we were able to sort of engage them between the months of March to April. This time we're here early because that was the feedback that we got.
Right.
I think that Ghana is a big focus market for us, and we continue to work really, really hard to give everybody an opportunity to be able to go to this summer school program.
All right. Now, all of this sounds great. It's fantabulous, really, but there's one catch. Everybody will be thinking, what's in it when it comes to money?
Yes.
Because these are pretty dire economic times across the globe. I'll come to you, Clark, again. What is the monetary outlay that people should be looking at?
Sure. So the price of the programme is £5,995.
£5,995.
That includes all of the accommodation, tuition, food, excursions. So they go to a West End musical in London, and they're living obviously in the University of Oxford itself.
Okay.
So it's a premium price product, but it's a 5-star experience for the students.
Okay.
So I think it's really for those people that are ambitious and want to have that kind of experience. Not for everyone, but for those students that are the right students, it's a fantastic experience. My own daughter's probably going to go this summer, actually. So
she's probably going to go.
Yeah, she wants to. So I think I'll send her.
So if you paid attention to what he said, £5,995, it includes, and this is not limited, what I gathered, food, tuition, that musical they will be attending, and residing in Oxford. That's the university proper, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oxford University. Yeah. So if you want that experience, this could be a foretaste of what you could get. Benjamin?
And also this year we are going to Imperial College London. That's £1,000 less, at £4,995.
Okay.
And they don't have to travel to Oxford. You get out of Heathrow and you're straight into London. So that's a good
Shorter
opportunity.
travel time.
Absolutely,
Right.
because these are young kids. And although we travel with chaperones, we make sure that we welcome them at the airport. It's important that travel is kept, quite short.
Right.
Yes.
So each of them has a chaperone.
What we do is we do groups.
So group chaperone.
Yes, a group chaperone. So a lot of the schools will probably turn around and give us maybe 20 students. And with 20 students, you'd have maybe 2 counsellors from the school.
Right.
We also got a team in London who would meet them, make sure that everything's all right, and they're on campus.
So these chaperones are with them right from the start. They in plane. They partake in the entirety of the program with the students.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I mean, the important thing as well is on the campus we have counsellors. We have who are university students used at Oxford and Cambridge to take care of the students themselves. So it's completely taken care of. And Oxford and Cambridge are enclosed campuses. So you have a porter on the gate with security. Nobody can come on and off the campus. So it's a very safe environment.
All right. So safety, check. That's quite a bucket list there. But to wrap the conversation, gentlemen, what can those who are watching us now, children, those who likely would want to participate, and their parents, what can they expect in a few words from both of you? I'll start with you, Ben.
I think first of all, it's a fun, sort of focused program. It's an opportunity for them to experience top universities. Okay, and I think in Ghana, when you look at a lot of the individuals or students who are looking to study abroad, as part of the process, all the students who want to go to an Ivy League potentially have got good grades. So what sets you apart from the rest?
Right.
And programs like this give you the opportunity to have something a little bit different and that cutting edge.
Yeah. So everybody is coming, acing, their college, whatever. Pre-college tests and everything, but what makes you stand out? That's one of the benefits.
That's right.
Yeah.
For you, Clark, final words.
Yeah, I think it's for many students, it's a life-changing experience to study with students, ambitious students from all over the world,
Right.
from 170 different countries potentially, in their class, and they just learn so much from each other that it's really life-changing. When they come home, they don't stop talking for 2 weeks to their parents about the people they met, the things they did, the things they studied. And as Ben says, I think one of the difficulties many students have is knowing what to study at university. This gives them a chance to have a taste of the subject, to find out if medicine is for you, or if law is for you, or if engineering is for you. And if it is, when you go to apply for the university, which are very, very competitive these days, you've got something to talk about in the personal statement and in the interview So, for example, if you're studying medicine, if you've had an undergraduate lesson in cardiology with us in the summer, you visited a hospital, spoken to doctors, you're a much better candidate than someone who's just studied biology at school.
Right.
Got good grades. So
Right.
I think that's really good.
It's been a thoroughly enjoyable conversation, though I am not participating. I almost feel as though I were. But maybe something else that you did not add, networking opportunities. I mean, someone may even end up not entering any of these institutions, but the network that you would build from there could
I always kind of say this, it's the best, I believe, the best summer school with sort of children from the best countries, from the best schools, converging in one area, all right? So you've got all of these networking opportunities for life, you know.
For life.
And also, I must add, for those who want to know more, of course, we have got a summer school event at the British Council this Saturday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Right.
I believe that we can meet them, talk to them about the summer school program, and then move from there.
All right. So we've had on board Clark McPhee, Sales and Marketing Director, Oxford Royal Academy, and Benjamin Mensah, CEO, Global Reach Study Abroad. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having joined us.
Thank you.
We'll be hosting Enterprise Live to tell us about their amazing packages for you. That right after the break. Stay.
Welcome back to the AM show, and we're now spending time with our headline sponsors for the schools reunions, and that is Enterprise Life. And joining me in studio is Nana Akwesu Ojo Okwoko, who is the head of special markets, Enterprise Life, and we have Raymond Joseph Nana Kwanzaa, who's the regional sales manager of Enterprise Life. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you back here again. Are you guys good?
Yeah, we're good.
Are you excited for the weekend?
Very, very.
Very. Hey, you look very, very excited. What are the plans for the weekend?
A lot.
A lot. Okay.
I want to disclose.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Let's start with Enterprise and tell us what you're all about.
Okay. Thank you very much, and a very good morning to your cherished viewers. So, Enterprise Life is a specialist life insurance company licensed by the regulator to distribute life insurance solutions to people in Ghana. And we've been around for the last 21 years.
Yeah.
And within this period, we've chalked many firsts, many milestones, including pioneering bank assurance in Ghana, introducing funeral finance insurance, and many others.
Yeah.
We've won several awards, and we've been the #1 leading insurance company, life insurance company in Ghana since 2015.
Okay, that's very good. Now let's talk about your plans. And my favorite one, which I have signed up for, is the Bloom.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me about Bloom and what you guys offer us. So we know that Bloom is for females.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me more about Bloom.
Okay, so the Bloom, as you said, is for females. So it basically covers covers female against critical illness, death, and total permanent disability.
Yeah.
You know, it also covers female-related illnesses. Yes. Aside that, we also have other benefits on the policy. The policy actually gives a cashback. So at the end of the term, let's say 10 or 15 years, the risk premium you pay for the period, it paid back to you if no incidents occur and we don't pay any claim to you.
Yeah.
Your money, you come back for your money.
For money.
Yes.
Okay, that's good, because I saw when I was, filling my form out, I would pay I'm paying what, 130 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is really great.
Yes.
And then you also have the funeral finance plan, which is the unlimited.
Yes.
Tell me about that one.
Yes, so the funeral finance plan unlimited is also designed to provide immediate cash.
Yeah.
For you to cover the funeral expenses of your loved ones.
Okay.
So we all have responsibilities towards our extended family, as I said the last time.
Definitely, yeah.
When death occurs, of course, the responsibility continues after death. So the funeral finance gives you immediate cash. So once you insure those people under the policy, when the death occurs, we give you a sum out to 50,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes, that you can use to cover the funeral expenses of your loved one. And one other good thing is, at the end of the term, whether 10 or 15 years, the risk premium you have paid to us, if no death occurs, we pay it back to you at the end of the term.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, nice. And then
Just to add to the Funeral Finance Plan Unlimited.
Yeah.
Before its introduction, there was no policy on the market that could cover people without any limit on ages. So we introduced this solution, and there's no age limit on your dependents. You can sign up for this policy. Even if the person you are covering is up to 100 years, we still cover that person. So there's no limitation on age when it comes to this solution, Unlimited. And it's the first of its kind in the country.
Okay.
There's also a life swap
and what does that mean?
feature on this policy. And what it means is that I've covered somebody else, and then somebody very close to me dies that I didn't even cover my policy.
Okay.
If it falls within a certain proximity, or let me say certain criteria, if the person falls within that criteria, you can come and swap the life of the person that is diseased for the person that was naturally covered under the policy.
Okay, so let's make an example. So I have covered my grandfather, right? But for example, my grandmother, I'm talking about these people because they're already dead. So it will be easier. So I've covered my I've covered my grandfather, right? No, let me say this. I've covered my father, yeah? And then he's the one who, like I've mentioned. But then my grandmother falls sick. I can swap like that, or how does it work? That's what I'm trying to understand, how it actually works.
So let's assume I cover my father. And my father and my mom are within the same age bands.
Oh, okay, so it's about age.
Yeah, so there are some terms, but they should be within a certain age band. Once the person is within that age band and is that close to you, because you didn't cover the person, we can still come in and say that, okay, you are swapping this life for the one that is dead, so that you get some benefits to go and pay for the funeral expenses of the person that you cover.
Okay. So the most important thing is the age brackets type thing. Okay.
The closeness of
and the closeness that you have. Okay. And then the last one I want to discuss before we talk about alumni by Enterprise Life is the Educare. Can you tell us about the Educare?
Yes, the Educare policy is also designed to provide immediate cash for the payment of ward school fees. Okay, so the Educare is designed to provide two major benefits. One is the immediate cash out, and the other one is a death and disability cover.
Okay.
So it actually makes sure that if the policyholder, in the event of death or total permanent disability, the company, Enterprise Life, funds the policy.
Okay.
Yes, which at the end of the term, the money is used to support the children in school.
Okay.
You get it? So this policy actually makes sure that whether you are alive or not, whether you will have the strength or not,
your kids
there's actually a plan for your kids to go to school up to the stage they want to get to.
Oh, that's
so you
great.
Actually have to come and talk to us. Then we look at the current stage of the kids in school and where you expect them to get to. Then we make a plan around it. Then the policy starts. So that at the end of the term, you either come for the money to support the children, or if in the course of it anything happens like death or permanent disability, we take charge of the contribution, then support the children in school.
Sharp. Okay, makes sense. Now let's talk about the Alumni by Enterprise Life. What is that all about?
Okay, so thank you once again. So Alumni by Enterprise, like we always say, it's a unique solution designed for associations. The objective really is to help them to deal with peril and losses as and when they come better than they would have done if they were not on the Alumni by Enterprise. Before we designed the solution, we realized that some schools, some unions may pay as little as 2,000 to support a member who loses a father. But what can 2,000 cities do? So we designed the Alumni by Enterprise to actually provide better amounts, higher amounts, sum assured, that could help the members of the associations to deal with their peril or the losses better. It is also to engender unity and brotherliness within groups. Because if I'm in a group and I'm bereaved and nobody supports me, I feel disinterested and I don't want to be part of the group again. So the alumni is supposed to encourage people to be together, because when one is bereaved, we all come together to support, because our enterprise is on board.
Yeah.
And the final one we say is that it is mainly to enforce camaraderie. So people feel more belonged to that group, and then they want to stay together and then do more things. So we did this solution basically to achieve these 3 key objectives.
Okay, so tell me about the benefits of being part of Alumni by Enterprise.
So you must belong to an alumni group, and they must contribute, because we say no contribution, no chop.
Of course.
So if you're a member of the group, you must pay your premiums. And once you pay your premiums, you benefit from 3 key things. You have death and funeral support for yourself, your spouse, and 2 dependents.
Sure.
You have critical illness cover for yourself, and then there's total permanent disability cover for yourself as well.
Okay.
So in the event of death or occurrence of these things, insured events, Enterprise Life will come in to pay a lump sum based on the package you selected.
Talking about the packages, we have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Can we get into those, options?
So the platinum is the highest.
Yeah.
And for that one, you have a combined sum assured of 80,000 cedis for the family. Then you come to gold. You have 60,000 cedis total sum assured. You have silver, which is 40,000 cedis total sum assured. Then you have the bronze, which is 20,000 cedis total sum assured. And you pay little premiums.
Yeah.
So for the whole platinum, up to 80,000 cedis cover for yourself, your wife, your dependents. You are paying as little as 480 Ghana cedis a year. For the entire year, you're paying only 480 cedis.
Okay.
For the gold, 60,000 sum assured, you're paying 360 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
For silver, 40,000, you are paying 240 Ghana cedis. And for bronze, 20,000, you are paying only 120 Ghana cedis a year for the whole year.
So, I mean, you're mentioning the figures like 120, 480. If I decided to pay for the whole year, is that something that you guys allow, or it has to be a monthly contribution? If I say that, okay, January, I have like the 480 and I would just like to pay the 480 so that I forget.
So the alumni actually is an annual renewal policy.
Yeah.
What it means is that you pay upfront for the year.
Upfront, okay, makes sense.
Because it's difficult to mobilize monthly premiums from people who work in different places.
Okay.
If you are not careful, people will default. And once you default, it will be difficult to pay them the claim.
Okay.
We try to do annual premiums. You pay once for the entire year, and everybody's covered for the duration of the policy for that particular year.
All right, so some exciting news is that you guys are headline sponsors for the Hits FM Schools Reunion.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why you decided to, partner with us?
Okay, so, we find it necessary to be where our clients are.
Okay.
And, we do that because it makes us happy. And it's also part of our culture.
Yeah.
And once our clients are having a program, we have to be there to be part of them, sponsor them, and also enjoy with them.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we also have a package that is designed for those groups particularly. So once they are having a program, of course, we have to be there to launch the package with them, also introduce the package to them.
Okay. And you guys will be on the grounds with us on the 26th of November?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah?
Yes, we are going to be there in our numbers.
Yeah.
You see our canopies around. You see us in green.
We'll see you in green.
See you as branded.
Okay. Can we quickly have your numbers?
Okay. So my number is 0242 621568.
0242
621568.
Okay.
The name is Raymond.
The name is Raymond.
Yes.
All right. And then Nana?
Yeah, 0244 709 747.
Okay.
0244 709 747.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will see you at the Hits FM Schools Reunion. Yeah?
Yes. Sure.
Where
yes,
you will be representing Accra, and you'll be representing again?
St. Augustine's.
Oh, St. Augustine's.
The blog guys will also be there in their numbers,
They should be there.
so my shirt will be cream and the green from Enterprise.
From Enterprise.
Cream from Accra and a green from Enterprise.
Is it not yellow?
No, cream.
No. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, my guest, for this conversation, Nana Kwesi Ojo Akoko, who is the head of Special Markets Enterprise Life. And I also was joined by Raymond Joseph Nanakwansa, who is the Regional Sales Manager at Enterprise Life. You're still watching the AM show. As you can see, 2 days to Qatar. We are very, very excited. We are behind the Black Stars, and Muftau Nabila is coming to the studio to have some, great conversations. And Bernice Abubedi Lansa is outside, and you don't want to miss that interaction. So stay tuned.
It is the moment that inspired many Ghanaians and has given them some hope ahead of the FIFA World Cup. A moment that Otto Addo and his technical team would look out and say, we are ready for the FIFA World Cup. Ghana defeated Switzerland 2-0 in their last World Cup warm-up game in Abu Dhabi on a Thursday. And next week, Thursday, they'll be coming up against Portugal in the Mundial. And today, we are having a conversation about the tournament, which is starting on Sunday. So joining me via Zoom is Nana Ajiman. But Bernice Abubeidu and Quinsa Ajapon are also standing by to have a conversation on the senior national team. Bernice, thanks very much. Just give me an idea of what you make of the Black Stars' performance witnessed yesterday.
Right, so Muftau, Queensta and I will be talking about the game, yesterday's game, the performance of the Black Stars. We'll be reflecting on social media reactions. We'll be talking about all the sentiments that have been shared by football lovers here in the country. And then we'll also try to take a few of your comments on what you expect from the Black Stars in the World Cup proper. So Muftau, we'll be listening into that conversation that you'll be having in the studio, and right after that, Queensta and I will be interacting.
Okay, Bernice, let me just hear something pretty quick from Queensta. She watched that game yesterday. What did she make of the performance of the Black Stars?
Muftau, I think yesterday the boys performed very well against Switzerland because most Ghanaians were not expecting them to actually win, but they ended up winning not less than 2 goals, which is a big deal for the Black Stars. It's a big confidence booster going into our first game against Portugal. So, yes, good performance by Otto Addo and his technical team. So, hopefully, we can build on this and then do some magic at the World Cup.
Okay, thank you, Queensta. Now, let me hear from a technical man, Nana Ajiman. He's a former coach of Okoro United. Nana, tell me pretty quick. We saw the Black Stars against Switzerland. The last 2 friendly matches they played before yesterday's game, that was against Brazil and Nicaragua. This team was censored by many. The flag was such that many actually said the performance was very dispiriting. What we witnessed yesterday, what does it suggest of the Black Stars heading into the World Cup?
The build-up and the morale within camp is good. It suggests that there is a focus within the Black Stars camp now. Every individual is focused on trying to put out their best as an individual and collectively as a team so that we can go far in the competition. I think that from what we saw yesterday, despite the fact that officially we're still ranked the lowest in the tournament, is that potentially there could be some upsets. There could really be some upsets. I think the back line was very strong. Quite clearly, the combination that the coach started with in the beginning is a good one. Not necessarily first team structure, but it's a very good one that can come on to close games down and things like that. I think that we've got depth in strength now on the bench because Party didn't start, Kofi Chair didn't start.
Kudus didn't start.
Kudos didn't start. So it suggests that there's a lot of depth there right now. And I think that it's put us in good stead for the match against Portugal. Of course, all the matches we're ranked as underdogs. But to turn over Switzerland, who are ranked 15 in the FIFA World Ranking, is a very good start for the last friendly that we played. and now we can look forward to Portugal with a lot more confidence than we could initially. I mean, this result with Switzerland was very, very, very important. Very important.
What do you make of the anchormen, Elisha Owusu and Salis Samet Abdo? Many people never actually expected them to start, but when they did at the heart of that midfield, many have said they provided cover for the back line, and they kind of provided some sort of assurance that in the absence of a player like, say, Baba Idrisu, who is missing the tournament due to injury, we've still got some cover.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, these are two players who I muted that must be in the team anyway. Salis wasn't around before, but now, thankfully, he's been called. And as far as defensive midfield goes, the two of them are solid. And they can pick a good pass too. Their challenges for the ball is also fantastic because if you notice, they don't concede free kicks when they challenge for possession of the ball. And that's very good. They're clean. They are clean performers in the middle of the park as defensive midfield players. And that's really what we need. So I wouldn't necessarily start with them because, I think there's more attacking flavor without them, to be perfectly honest with you. But if I wanted to lock a game up that perhaps we're leading 2-0, and I saw a few tired limbs out there in the middle of the park, these are the two boys that could possibly come in and combine and totally lock the opposition out of the game. So I'm very happy with their contribution, very, very happy.
There were people who actually said that the game against Switzerland should be the game Ghanaians would be given an idea of who starts in that first game against Portugal. But if you have a player like, say, Thomas Partey, who didn't start, Mohamed Kudus, who didn't start, you mentioned Kofi Chire, who didn't start, Kamal Sowa didn't start, but there was an opportunity that was given to Daniel Afriyie-Banya, who also really, really impressed so well. Does this still tell us that with barely 7 days to Ghana's first game, Otto Addo is still on a try and error?
No, I don't think so. He knows his first 11. He knows his first 11, absolutely. He may have a bit of a dilemma about Barnier. If I was him, I wouldn't, because I would start him with Inaki Williams or with Semenyo. Inaki Williams didn't get the service, really, that he required to really, put goals in his sights. But still, I mean, look, up front, there are only 3 strikers. There are 8 people listed, 8 players listed, but in real terms, the strikers are Barnier, Somenya, and also Williams. Those are the 3 strikers. And if, for me, I would start any 2 out of the 3. I think Barnier, he earned his place. He worked very hard. He should have had a penalty earlier on. To be perfectly honest with you. He earned Ghana a penalty, but it wasn't given. So, for his enthusiasm, his discipline, because if you notice when he came off the park, he's, and he was asked about his contribution, he said this, I did exactly what the coaches asked me to do. And that's what you want, the tactical discipline of a player, especially the ones up front. And so, I don't see anything wrong with him starting. I think he's a good option for starting. Williams is a good option for starting. Semenyo is a great option for starting as well. These are players who are strikers. I mean, Barnier doesn't have that exemplary record, as an exemplary record up front, to be perfectly honest with you, but he's a striker. He's a striker. And for me, any 2 out of the 3 as a combination up front should be in that starting 11. But I think the coach has his 11. He knows his 11.
Nana, you mentioned many options. So Barnier is a good option to start. Kamaldeen a good option to start. Inaki Williams, Semenyo is also a good option to start, and all that. And then Kofi Chire. Is it a good headache to have as a coach? Hello, Nana.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I still hear you.
Yes. So I asked if it is a good option, if it is a good option for coaches to have so many options. It's a good headache. Is it a good headache for the coach to have?
Oh, absolutely. It's what every coach wants. Every coach wants that type of headache because it means that I've got so much quality, I'm almost confused as to who should start. But I don't believe he's confused. He's got good technical men backing him up there. And I know that he knows his 11. I know he knows his 11. I mean, take, for example, the keeper. There's no point changing the keeper now, is it? I mean, Atizigi must be the starter. There's no one else to start. So he's the number one keeper. We know Amati. We know Party. We know Jiku.
We know Salisu, Tariq Lamptey, Dennis Odoi, Ali Ruseidu.
Yeah. He's got a wonderful dilemma on his hands. And the beautiful thing about it is, what it looks like is that any player he selects will deliver on the day. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why I say we have strength in depth, because all the players who won't start, who will be sitting on the bench, can come into the game at any particular time and actually add value. And that's the greatest asset of all. So it's a wonderful headache to have. Trust me, a wonderful headache.
How should we approach that game against Portugal next week, Thursday?
Well, we've seen what they've just done to our cousins across the border.
Nigeria, yeah.
Yeah, they've just annihilated them 4-0. What a fantastic result for them. But they have their own problems with the Ronaldo issue. You know, he didn't play. You know, he wasn't a starter. And I think that's because...
But at 37, were you expecting Ronaldo to start at 37?
Yeah, why not? What have they called him there for? They've called him there to play. He's a key component of the Portuguese team. Let's not deny it, whether he's 37 or not. He's key. He's lost a bit of form, but still, he's a motivating factor for those around him, playing with him. You know, so let's not take that for granted. You know, perhaps they were just reserving him for the Ghana game. You never know. But they looked up and doing.
Yes.
You know, they're a class act, and I think that we can't afford to go into that game to sit back and allow them to attack us. We must take the game to them, but take the game to them cautiously, and try to take the chances that we know we will create in front of goal. That's the most important. You can get 1 or 2 goals there, then you can start, you know, thinking defensively on how you're going to ensure that they don't score any goals. But we can't sit back and allow them to attack, because if we allow them to attack, we'll concede goals just like Nigeria conceded. But our attacking prowess can't be wanton. We can't just throw things up in the air and just attack just like that. It must be constructed very well. It must be strategic. It must be tactical, because the Portuguese are no pushover. They're no pushover.
Okay, so Nana, my final question to you would be this. From this friendly match, many people, especially on social media, they were asking questions. When was the last time you saw Black Stars play this well in a game? Many people cannot actually recall the last time, especially against an opposition deemed to be very good, just like Switzerland. What it means is that expectations are shooting above the roof. Should Ghanaians be very expectant, or they should lower their expectations heading into this World Cup? And just within the same line, do you think we've got a quality to go beyond the first round of the World Cup?
Well, everything depends on the first game. I've got to be perfectly honest with you. Everything depends on the first game. And I said that everything depended on the Switzerland game. But, you know, the Portuguese game, they're 9th in the FIFA ranking. They're within the top 10, and they mean business. If we're able to turn Portugal over, then we can do anything. But if we're not able to turn them over, then we've really got to knuckle down. We've got, you know, an uphill struggle in front of us. Trust me. But if we can turn them over, the worst should be a draw. Let me tell you, the worst against Portugal should be a draw. If we can do that, anything can happen. Trust me. anything else can happen.
Okay, thank you. In fact, our scouts were in the stadium to watch Nigeria versus Portugal. So it means that Ghana is keeping tabs on what the Portuguese are doing. The Black Stars are expected to fly out of Abu Dhabi today to Qatar, where the World Cup would be happening. The first game would be on Sunday. Benny Sabubedu and Queen Star Japan, they are standing by to continue the conversation on this Black Stars. Benis, a quick one just before I leave you and Queen Star to continue the conversation. Nana says we should lower our expectations. Your expectations, are they above the roof, or you are managing your expectations?
Well, I know many other people are thinking like Nana, asking us to manage our expectations. But if you know me, I'm a football lover, and I'd rather believe and be disappointed and not believe, and then I'll be put to shame. So, hey, I believe in the Black Stars, and I believe they can do well, especially from what we saw yesterday. But I'm still here with Queen Star Ajiman. She is with our sports team at Asempa and at Drum FM. Queen Star, let's start off with that game yesterday. Was it a situation of we playing better or the Swiss not coming to the game at all? Because there are those who've said that this is not the Switzerland we know, especially seeing their gains in the qualification points till now.
Yeah. So starting from the qualification bit, I think during the UEFA Nations League, this same Switzerland team, they scored France, they scored Spain, and they scored Portugal. And we got them yesterday and we scored them 2-0. But I feel that they actually brought their A game. We were just the better side. This Ghanaian team, people were like, okay, where is Pate, where is Kudus, where is Amate? But they were able to match them boot for boot. They brought their number one goalkeeper, Soma. He was in there. Garnet Xhaka was in there. He's doing extremely well. Shaqiri was in there. So it was not as if they came into the game underestimated, because they knew what we could do. We were rather holding them in high esteem. So we played and made sure that we matched them and defeated them. So it was not as if they came in to play. No, they didn't. In the first half, they were not joking. We brought on some players in the second half, and it worked for us. So it was just our A game, and it was our day. So yes, we did our best against Swiss, and it wasn't as if they were just they came prepared, but they just lost.
Okay. So talking about the tactics, are you confident then? Because you say these changes did something good for us. Are you confident of the tactics that we're going into this game with? Because Ghanaians, we talk a lot, and usually people talk about, why is this coach playing it this way? Why are we doing this formation? Blah blah blah.
I think it's about time we gave Coach Otoado and Chris Hilton, Didi Dramani and George Boateng, we gave them the benefits of the doubt. Because most of the time, when we, like during our qualifiers, for instance, after 50, 60 minutes, people will start calling Ochoado, change this person. So yesterday he actually did something good. He made his first change, I think around the 70th minute, which was a bit earlier than what we are used to, because mostly it's like the 10 minutes getting to the end of the game, then he'll bring some players on. But yesterday he did some changes and it helped. He brought on the likes of Antoine Semenya, he brought on Gideon Mensah, he brought on Ali Duseidu, all this. So it helped, but I feel that let's give them space to operate. We have given them the job to do, so we just have to believe in them and know that these are the people. They have done their job. They brought us at a point where we all thought Nigeria was going to take us out of the World Cup. Nigeria was definitely going to qualify, but they did the magic and they helped us qualify to where we are now. So I feel we should just chill, take a chill pill and then give them the benefits of the doubt.
There are things Ghanaians don't chill about. Politics and football. No, we don't know how to chill about that. But Queen Star, there are a lot of talking points from yesterday's game. This World Cup is special for many reasons. One is that we are playing the World Cup at a very unusual time. Usually we play it in the middle of the year, but this time around November. I'm told it's largely due to the weather in Qatar and all that. Talking about the weather, we heard from a Swiss player who says the weather didn't help us at all. Now, Queen Star, does that excite teams from Africa, is this the chance for us to take advantage and say we're going to win this? Because we are more used to this kind of climate largely.
Yeah, it does excite the African in me, because I know over here, although our sun is not as hot as what they're experiencing in Qatar, I feel we are a bit closer to them than the Europeans are, because mostly in Europe around this time it's winter, so they feel like, okay, they are used to the cold weather in November getting into December, so this time around they'll just have to, I don't know, become, is it chameleons or whatever, and adjust to the weather in Qatar. But I feel that it will tilt a bit to the advantage of the African countries, that though most of our players are playing in Europe, most of them played here before they got the opportunity to play in Europe. So I feel the weather situation might tilt a bit to the advantage of the African players, which I hope they make good use of. They shouldn't take advantage of the weather and still go and flop and let an European country just walk all over us. So with the weather, I feel the African players and African teams have a bit of an advantage compared to those coming from Europe. Yeah.
Right. Let me take us back a bit to the qualifiers up until this point, and even in the AFCON game, if my memory serves me right, there was a particular game we didn't see our captain play in, Dede Ayew, and that day there was a lot of commentary on social media and even by sports pundits saying that it appeared that the team was gelling better. There were some changes that allowed the team to flow better. Okay, so with what we saw yesterday, we didn't see some of our major and key players featuring. We saw more of the younger ones, the new call-ups and all. We've done very well, but we are most likely to see a change in the team in our first game. Should we still have high hopes that we will see this performance with different players?
It could be an improvement on this performance, and it could also be the fact that this big players like the likes of Thomas Partey, Kudus is not as big, but yeah, when it comes to the national team, he's a big player. So Kudus will come, Thomas Partey will come, Amate will come in defense. And I think one good thing that worked for us yesterday, like you said, these are literally new players. Some do get call-outs, but then they got the opportunity to play for the Black Stars yesterday against Switzerland. And with the likes of Dede Ayew and Jordan Ayew being the senior players in the team, it was as if once these guys get the ball, I don't want to say they were not in competition with anybody, but they felt, okay, we are a team, we have something to do. But once these big players come on board, everyone wants to score. Once they get the ball, instead of him maybe passing to make sure that it gets the next person, wherever they are, once they get the ball, they want to score. So it might work to advantage, or it might not work, because also the fact that facing Portugal, Thomas Partey, for instance, he plays in the English Premier League, and he sees Bruno Fernandes, he sees Cristiano Ronaldo week in, week out. So it could be that, okay, it's not as if you're a big player than we are all at the same level. So let's match each other boot for boot and get the job done for our various countries. It could also be that maybe they might go into this game, everyone wanting to prove a point. So it could be positive and negative. I just hope Coach Otoado gets the balance right. If he has to balance the older players or the big players, yes, more experienced players with the younger, he should find the balance right. I think once he gets that right, it will work. Yeah.
Okay, so when Coach Otoado announced this 26-man squad, unfortunately for us, we didn't have the keepers that we were expecting to have. We were told due to injuries and other things. Yesterday, we didn't see our keeper receive a lot of challenge. And I'll be going to social media shortly to read some of your comments on the Black Stars performance yesterday. But one of them was about the fact that we still have an issue in our keeping department. How do we rectify that, bring into play the kind of defense structure that we need to put up?
I think with this 26-man squad we took to Qatar, our weakest department is the goalkeeping department, because Richard Ofori, who happens to be our number one keeper, couldn't go because of injury. Wallacott took us to AFCON. Though he got the bash, I think he grabbed some sort of experience from that tournament. So most Ghanaians were expected to see him and then Richard Ofori and maybe Atizigi or Manaf. But that didn't happen. So Atizigi seems to be like our number one goalkeeper now. But Atizigi, I don't know what his issue is. When you go to the Swiss league, they worship Atizigi. Like at St. Gallen, he's their god. He does everything. He controls the defense. He's able to I don't even know what to say, but they worship Atizigi as St. Gallen. But once he gets the opportunity to play for the national team, it's as if even if Black Stars scored 10, Atizigi will have to just concede one before the end of the game. But yesterday that didn't happen. He ended the game and kept a clean sheet. So hopefully.
But was he challenged enough?
I think, yeah, some balls came to him. He made some cool saves, but I think you can't this is a friendly game. So against Portugal, you wouldn't expect things to be the same, because that's like World Cup proper, like someone would say. They will come at you. Yeah, so he would have to be at his best. If he is asked to be the number one keeper, you have to bring his A game. He will have to also control the defenders, the players in front of him. If there is something that you have an issue with, if he's shouting, shout on them. Master, push. Let me see. And if it's because at the end of the day, if you concede a game, it will be very difficult for any Ghanaian supporter to say the defenders. Yes, sometimes we blame it on the defenders, but mostly it comes to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, no one could have caught it. Yeah. So if it's just controlling and also making sure that he should just do the saves, because he should replicate what he does at St. Gallen for the Black Stars. Because I think when he does that, we wouldn't have much to complain about when it comes to the goalkeeping department.
Please, I'll come back to you. There's some Oxford analysis that we have to dissect, because they've done some analysis on all the countries represented at the World Cup, and unfortunately Ghana has the least chance of winning the World Cup. The least. Just say we are last on the table. But let me take a few of your comments while we wait to delve into that. So this is from Patrick Atanimakon. Ghanaians, it is about Ghana, not politics or tribes you belong to. No matter the squad you preferred to be used, the game has started. So let's support our nation with prayers, with our spirits, and wish them the best of luck. Please. When he says we are not even happy for the good start, Ghana for. Well, Johannes Sakite says it's a good starting point for us. We will now face Portugal with confidence, and he has a prediction. He says we'll score them 2-1. Interesting. Nana Bafo says what I know was that Ghanaians were playing a serious match, whilst the Swiss team were protecting their legs for the tournament. Striker Dia says our goalkeeping is a problem we have, and you've just heard Queen Star explain that. Mohamed Yakubu says I'm waiting to see their performance against Portugal before any comment. So you're like a doubting Thomas here. Jesus, let me see the piercing in your hand. If not, I don't believe you are the same person. Well, Nashar Bruce says let us think Switzerland wasn't into the game. You see why I was asking you that question? Like you guys won't be disturbing some of us this morning. And Frank Herman thinks, well, that's the only game we can win. Gamado Phillips says it wasn't competitive enough, but it was a good exercise. Emmanuel says let's stop the hype. The actual game is ahead. The real deal is ahead. And finally, Adam Abdul Hanan says it means nothing. I'm not convinced no midfielder is ready to die for the nation. All they think about is their professional clubs. They wouldn't want to be injured in order not to lose position at their clubs. Only one player whom I believed could have safeguarded the midfield. He was not given the opportunity. He's referring to Wakaso, and he thinks our team is hopeless. I've got a few more comments, but I'll reserve them for when I'm wrapping up. So Queen, so let's talk about that analysis by Oxford. When I saw it, to be honest with you, I was a bit heartbroken, because I was like, Ghana, like we should feature somewhere. Senegal was way above. Like Senegal has a better chance of winning the World Cup than we do. But there are those who say, yeah, Ghana, we are slow starters. We didn't have a good build-up, but let's not write the team off yet.
Yeah, I think I agree with those saying we shouldn't write the team off, especially with this crop of players, because Switzerland, like, again, they are ranked 15th in the world, but though, yeah, they are saying this was not competitive. It was for them. I know it was for them. So if we're able to beat them, I feel that we should, if Oxford is not giving us the chance, we should just try and give these players the benefits of it. They can do something better. They can prove all of us wrong. I'm actually happy that most Ghanaians I have high expectations, but most Ghanaians don't have high expectations of this team, because I feel when you go to tournaments as underdogs, we actually end up doing better. In 2010, nobody expected us to get to the quarterfinals, but we did. So it's better we go into the tournament as underdogs, and then boom, okay, all of a sudden Ghana is performing, and people are asking, okay, team name we need it. So I prefer it that way than to go in all shiny and then we come out after the group stage. So yes, the high hopes I think is good, but I prefer we go in like this. Though we won against Switzerland, it will boost the confidence of the players. Imagine Ghana losing to Switzerland yesterday. These same people say, yes, these same people saying we shouldn't be, yes, would have been okay. We said it. We said they will not win. Just Switzerland, they couldn't win. They are definitely going to lose all their games. So I think this is a confidence booster for the Black Stars. They should take advantage of the fact that Ghanaians don't have much hopes in them. They should go into the tournament as underdogs and prove everybody wrong.
Prince, I'm going to put you on the spot. Predict Ghana, Portugal. What are your predictions?
2-1 in favor of Ghana.
Okay, that's a nice one. I stay away from predictions. I mean, like Nanajaman says, I think the best we should fight for is a draw. It will help us. But briefly, Queen Star, would you have preferred we played any country in the team first, other than Portugal?
I would have preferred South Korea. Not saying South Korea it's a weaker side, because I don't think currently there are no minnows in football. The fact that they've qualified to the World Cup means they were giants in their region. But I prefer Switzerland if we had played Switzerland, because Ghanaians have this. South Korea, thank you. Ghanaians have this slow starters thing. I don't know, whatever we do, it seems to get stuck at the back.
We begin to peak.
Yeah, we don't enter into. Yes, so I would have preferred South Korea, but against Portugal, it would be good if you win against Portugal. Then our confidence will go through the roof going into the next game against South Korea. But I would have preferred South Korea. The draw didn't give us South Korea; it gave us Portugal. So yes, I'm still hopeful. I feel we can.
So Queen Star says it's 2-1. Keep it at the back of your mind. I will still have her here after that game for us to do all the analysis. But quickly wrapping up, let me take some of your comments. Adobila Jacob says, well, the performance was satisfactory, talking about yesterday's game against Switzerland. Genevieve Bonsu says, can't Jordan Ayew score from a free kick? And Kubi also says it was satisfactory. Junior Law says, good work done, more room for improvement. Maxwell Smith, Arthur is just laughing. I don't know what he's laughing at. And Emmanuel Safu also thinks that there must be improvement. But guys, look, no matter where you stand in all of this, I just feel, I for some reason, yesterday after that game, I was beginning to get the vibe that I had when we were playing the World Cup in South Africa. For some reason, let's just throw our weight behind the boys. It doesn't hurt, does it? Say a prayer for them, wish them well. Let's reduce the criticism a bit and spur them on. Hopefully the Black Stars will be able to give us something to smile about, seeing what the current situation in the country is. A lot of us have been complaining. Hopefully they'll be able to give us something to smile about. So thank you so much for joining the show this morning. On behalf of the entire team, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you. Enjoy your weekend, have fun, stay safe, don't drink and drive. See you, God willing, on Monday. Take care.